Hello, everyone, and welcome live to 3 Wide TV, tonight's broadcast of the Stay Tuned Sports Podcast B-Car Series. I am Peter Short, and alongside me here tonight is none other than Andre Grambush. And Andre, we're at a racetrack that has gone through a couple of identity crises over the past couple of years. It is now Worldwide Technology Raceway, but I think most of us know it as Gateway. An egg-shaped 1.25-mile oval, if you will. Going to be a little bit of a unique one and a challenge for the drivers tonight.
Yeah, definitely a strange track. It's a bit like you mix together Darlington and New Hampshire, and out comes Gateway or Worldwide Technology or whatever it decides that it's going to be next week. But it's definitely a fun track to try to navigate. It is so different at either end of the track, and you have to drive it so different. It's almost a little bit like road course racing, just in one direction. So it'll be a good time. We do have some cars practicing, and one of the biggest fields of the year so far, 14 cars so far at posted a time, but the fastest among them, Adam Newton in that number 4. He's been on fire this year. 34.91 is the hot lap in practice. Tellier right behind him, he's also been pretty quick, 34.98. We got a 34.99, just barely missing out on second, Chris Pendell. So those are kind of the lap times we're looking at on fresh tires at least, but I do know that this is a track where tire wear is going to be quite substantial, even in the cooler temps under the lights here. So that'll be a good time as we ride on board with that iconic Hello Kitty car. He brought it back. It was a truck. Now it's an Xfinity car. He's bringing it back.
Yeah, that Hello Kitty machine, we've seen it out there on the racetrack multiple times here in the Stay Tuned Sports Series over the past couple of years, but now with this B-car, Xfinity car, whatever you wish to call it, but Tellier out there on the racetrack right now. Good run for him so far. Here's a driver looking to turn around here tonight. That's the number 2 machine of Justin White, and needs a good run after, had a good run last week, but still trying to recover from a disastrous iRacing Superspeedway to start the season. It always sucks to get your first race out there and start off on the back foot. Meanwhile, Tom Lester in the number 48, he's looking for a good run here tonight. Paul Bilson in the 00 had some tough luck last week at Kentucky Speedway, but of course we had fast repairs for everyone last week, so hopefully this week, hopefully Paul can keep it in one piece and without having any fast repairs here tonight. Joshua Corner, new look for the number 16 here tonight. I think he's going to have a different paint scheme every race this season. I think that's what he said. Wounded Warrior project on that Ford Mustang. And as he heads down the backstretch right there, there's Will Ratcliffe in the number 95. Also running with a Chevrolet. Heading off into turn number 3 right now. Ratcliffe reviews on the side of the number 95. Well, we'll have to review the night of Ratcliffe. Currently not starting out all too hot, down in 11th. We'll see where he ends up at the end of tonight. Practice is about to wrap up. Adam Newton looks like he will win practice. Keeps that hot streak going, Andre. 2 for 2 so far this season.
Yeah, we'll have to see if he can go 3 for 3. Also, I'm not one to critique paint schemes too much, but bold choice with a white number on a white car. It's a unique choice. But yeah, we're looking to see if they can go 3 for 3, or if we're going to get a new winner tonight. I think if any track was going to offer up a unique winner, it would make sense that it's a track as unique as WWT. We'll have to wait and see. Is the iconic arch out in the distance rendered here on iRacing. And honestly, there's a lot of detail back there I've never noticed. That's pretty neat. But we do have track information, and it looks like it's going to be 82 degrees Fahrenheit at the start of the race, which is probably going to be somewhere close to 90 on the track. And partly cloudy, which, not really going to be able to notice that too much at night. And 10-mile-an-hour wind gusts, which probably aren't going to play too big of a factor. But hey, if you ever wondered what's going on there, that is all your racing information, as they are going to be gridding up for qualifying here. See who can post the hot lap in quals. 00 Paul Bilson among the first in that tide ride. Love that paint scheme, trying to post his time, rolling through the 3 and 4, I believe. You can see he was taking a little bit of a wider arc there. No need to really hug the bottom when you're just trying to carry speed down the straightaway. And I believe this is going to be the start of his first time to lap. And it will be. So coming down into turn 1. Overshot it just by a small margin there, Peter.
Yeah, this is a racetrack where it can kind of reach out and do that to you. You can really overdrive turn number one. I'm sure we'll see it more than once here tonight. I've seen a lot of accidents happen right here as one driver tries to dive bomb underneath someone, as you see on board here with Jimbo Casterline. Now, this is a unique racetrack, Andre, where the grip levels have always seemed to be a little bit different depending on what groove you run, and I've seen a lot of drivers, as Tellier, well, there's not a lot of grip down there, but he's running that bottom side of the racetrack, aka the grass, mowing it down there. But TJ Elaine right there is doing exactly what I was about to talk about. Most drivers run kind of that middle groove in turn number 1 and 2. It just seems like there's a lot of grip right there, not a lot of grip right down there on the white line, but if you save enough tires and you get enough traction, you can use that white line in turn number 1 and 2. Turn number 3 and 4, however, you're going to be right down there racing on those rumble strips. I've seen them catch out a couple of drivers. They do get you a little bit loose if you clip them in the wrong spot, as TJ Elaine completes lap number 2. It will be a slight improvement on lap number 2 for TJ Elaine. Tom Lester currently slotting into second. There he is. Let's see if he can pick it up on his second time lap. Coming to the line right now, 35.22, makes that a 35.16 on lap number 2. Mike Floppy Tellier is still sitting in third, but his lap times are done. Hot shot in the series so far, Adam Newton, fastest of all in qualifying. He's going to need to pick it up here on lap number 2, 35.3 on lap number 1. Lap number 2, the only driver so far to break it to the 35s, goes to top of the charts here, Andre. With just a minute and 52 left. Brent McKee, Christopher Pendell, and Joshua Corner out there on the racetrack right now.
Yeah, we saw him post that 34.9 in practice, and I was waiting to see who was going to break into the 34-second bracket, and makes sense that he's able to do it in qualifying. Here goes Chris Pendell in that 94 machine trying to post his first lap. Let's see where he's going to be ranked on the scoreboard. This is going to be the start of his first lap, and just a little bit hot into turn 1. That is not the first driver we've seen make this mistake before. Now down the back straightaway where they have that very awkward gate angle, which always makes me a little bit nervous when I'm driving this track, but down through 3 and 4, the wider of the turns, trying to hug the rumble strips down there. Let's see what he can do. Shooting out of turn 4, crossing the line. 10 cars opposed at a time, and among them, he is going to fall 5th. Not a bad effort, 35.25. And with only a handful of drivers left to post a time, it's very possible he might stay in the top 5.
But he just clipped the wall there off of turn number 2, and that will disqualify his second lap time. If you hit the wall in a qualifying lap, iRacing throws it away. So Pendell will be currently in 5th. Joshua Corner is just slotted himself up into 6th in the Wounded Warrior Project Ford. Justin White, how about this? Late qualifier, 35.05. That was on his first lap. Now, we saw Adam Newton pick it up on lap number 2. Justin White getting everything off of turn 2 here, Andre. He's going for pole here. He's got 11 seconds left to make it back to the stripe. It's going to be tight. I don't think he's going to do it, though. I think he's going to run out of time.
Yeah, only 2 seconds to get out of the corner. And, iRacing, sometimes they'll give you a second or two of leeway. But unfortunately for him, that was not enough leeway. So the second lap not going to be posted. That's all right, because he wound up on the podium for qualifying, which is a pretty solid effort there, as they are now gridding on the front straight away. Everybody heading to their cars. Adam Newton on pole, the 34.93, the only driver in qualifying to get into that 34-second bracket. Justin White, one-lap wonder, brings it home in a second for qualifying. TJ Elaine's going to be rolling off row 2 inside, outside Tom Lester. Mike Tellier is going to be rolling off 5th in that 47 car. He's next to Chris Pendell. Joshua Corner and Thad Miller going to make up row 4. Row 5 is going to go to Paul Bilson and Jim Casterline.
And then rounding out our field here tonight, William Ratcliffe in the number 95. Brent McKee will be starting alongside him. And then rounding out our field, Mitchell Adams, Jason Shue, and look who showed up at the pretty much one of the last seconds, Garrett Gleason, who messaged me like 2 minutes ago saying that he got his stuff set up. So I don't actually, no, I take that back. I think I know what he was trying to tell me, and I think he was trying to tell me that the setup's not very good here tonight. I guess he's not liking the car. I kind of took it as that maybe he was running a little bit late, but I think he was on the practice chart, so maybe Garrett just not seeing eye to eye with the car setup here tonight. All the drivers here in tonight's field have a fixed setup, so they will have to fight with that as you get one final look of the Gateway Arch before we hit the green flag here tonight. Do like that look off of the front stretch. Kind of cool that you can see the Gateway Arch. There's a little bit of a look. Turn number 1, we'll be showing that here tonight. We also have the backstretch cam right out of turn number 2. Then we got this camera here, which is our digger cam, our gopher cam right there, actually coming out of turn number 2 as well. And then entry into turn number 3, and then the exit of turn number 4. As you see the field starting to roll away. Of course, we'd also have the flagman there, Andre, and we'll see that green flag wave here in 1 lap from now.
You know, this is probably a fitting week to bring back the old digger cam. I know that NASCAR recently launched a website where you can go back and watch over 1,000 classic races. So, nostalgia all around. We got classic races, we got the digger cam, we got a number 3 good wrench car in the field. We're just looking at plenty of nostalgia here at Gateway as they roll down the back straightaway. All those lights shining very brightly down onto this circuit with perhaps a little bit wonky effect thanks to iRacing. This is a pretty outdated scan, if I recall. So it is definitely one of the tracks looking for a bit of a touch-up here in the coming builds. But through 3 and 4, 15 cars are going to be heading down to the stripe. And a little bit of, let's say, maybe a good luck tap from Justin White down to the 4.
Yeah, maybe saying, you know what, buddy, I want to win one here tonight. Having a lot of luck is the number 4 machine. Green flag is out. We're racing here at Worldwide Technology Park as they head off towards turn number 1. Everyone rolling nice and neatly. It is Adam Newton with those 2 wins so far this season, now leading the field. As back behind them, some side-by-side. Tom Lester to the outside of TJ Elaine, and one car caught the wall. That was Christopher Pendel, I believe, in the number 94 machine, who just kissed the wall up off the corner. I'm seeing some right side damage already. That is not a good start for the number 94. It has kickstart on the car, but I don't think that's the way you want to kickstart your night.
No, and that may very well have damaged that car. That was not a soft hit. He's going to do it again out of 4. Struggling all the way around this track. Everybody trying to work their way around the low side. There goes Paul Bilson in the Tide Ride. See if he can maybe keep it off the wall. He's side by side with that 16 of corner. Let's see if he can make the corner this time out of the turn, and he avoids the wall. So maybe finally getting this thing under control, but corner not able to get clear, so they will stay side by side. I think Pendel made the smart move there, kind of left off the throttle, kind of conceded the position, put himself in a safer situation. 83 goes by as well, gets a little bit loose off the corner, but that's not going to be the first driver to do that tonight. Definitely not going to be the first or last. Down into turn 1, single file most of the way. Already seeing quite a bit of separation through the field from 1st to 15th. It is 8 seconds. That 83 looking really loose out of the corner every time. Struggling with the setup maybe.
Yeah, that number 83 right there, Mitchell Adams. I'm a bit surprised. I mean, last week we saw him pretty fast at Kentucky home race for Mitchell Adams, and unfortunately had a pit road mishap, kind of gave away his shot at possibly winning. But we have seen a lot of clean green flag racing. We saw a lot more at Kentucky than we saw at iRacing Super Speedway a couple of weeks ago. I think only 3 cautions last. But as I say that, we got the big one. The big one in turn number 1, and cars are around. I just had to open my mouth, didn't I, Andre?
You had to say something, Peter. All right, going to the 3-wide TV replay. Let's see exactly what transpired. We're riding along with Justin White, and now we're going to go to the external cam. It looks like Mike Tellier sending her in hot. I have no idea where he thought he was going in that car. But there was only one way he could have gone. That was up the track. That was a full send. Let's take a different approach. We'll look at this from a different angle. keep your eye on that 47. He is about 10 car lengths back, and then
he just
into
missed
the
his
quarter panel.
Yeah, he 100% missed the brake marker. I can 100% say that is a missed brake marker if I've ever seen one. Let's see if we can
Absolutely.
let's see if we can get one more look from on board with Mike Tellier. Here we go. Goes off into the corner, and man, you could tell he was going to overdrive it. Tried to get it woed up. Back end started to come around just a little bit. And unfortunately, there was that little bit of contact. Let's see if we can get maybe a ride on board with Mitchell Adams here quickly in the number 83 machine. He did a good job of avoiding this. We were just keeping our eyes on him. You see all the chaos break out in front. I think that I'm not sure if that was Thad Miller who might have got a piece of it. Let's see if we can get a look from on board with Thad here as go off into the corner. We'll see, and unfortunately, really nowhere for the 81 to go. Yeah, got a piece of it for sure,
Yeah.
and as did the 00. Look at that, 00 missing a hood.
Yeah, Paul Bilson took a surprising amount of damage from that. It didn't really look like that hard of a hit for him, but he's got some damage to repair. That'll be the third week in a row that 00 team's going to have to scramble for some sheet metal, so that's unfortunate. But, in Mike's defense, I know I've got a bit of a habit of ripping on drivers sometimes. So let's do the opposite here. Let's play devil's advocate here. Sometimes at a track like this, you legitimately forget which end you're at. And if you try to take the braking zone for the more sweeping turn, in the tight turn, bad things happen. I myself have done that many a time across many different video games. You just kind of forget which side of the track you're at. You come in a little bit hot. And I think, honestly, if the 2 machine had been like 5 feet further up the track, Tellier might have got it woed up in time. He did a really good job not panicking, not locking up the brakes, but it was just not enough track for the momentum he was carrying. So definitely a frustrating situation for Justin White. He qualified really well, had a fast car, and now we don't know what his pace is going to be. It seems like the right front of that car still crumpled in. He had to beat the pace car out, so no matter how much more damage there was to fix, he had to get out onto the track. So lights are off on the pace car as well, so he's not going to be coming back down to fix it. He's going to have to deal with a wounded horse for a little while, at least until the next caution. So that's a very quick turn of events.
I'm gonna say I think we definitely got our answer on fast repairs here tonight. I do want to give a shout out to harpoondesign.com, giving out our poll award here tonight to the number 4 of Adam Newton, who is elected to choose the outside line for this upcoming restart. You see their logo up there in the top left. I absolutely love their logo. It's got kind of an octopus kind of vibe to it with the tentacle kind of hanging on to the H. And big shout out to Harpoon Design. Make sure you check out harpoondesign.com before you leave here tonight. If you haven't yet checked them out, I'll tell you what, some really, really cool stuff on their website. Things for you to check out as the green flag will be in the flag man's hand. Adam Newton here getting set to go green. Let's ride on board with him as he disappears off into the sunset. Look at Mitchell Adams. We were just talking about how he had a good race going last week at Kentucky, and things did not kind of pan out his way. Well, here tonight, Mitchell Adams, you see getting clear of the car inside of him, now looking out front at Tom Lester here in the early going, looking for second. That would be a huge start for the number 83.
Yeah, we saw him kind of struggling with the handling, getting a little bit loose, but he was able to keep it off the wall. He's got a clean car, and now fighting for second place. It's going to be a bit of a crossover maneuver for Tom Lester. Was on the outside, now he's on the inside, but look at the run that Adams gets down the straightaway. That's going to get him clear and away. Meanwhile, a little bit further back in the cluster, we've got Paul Bilson right alongside that 81 machine of Thad Miller. And, he's down a hood, but doesn't seem to be down on power too much. He's at least keeping pace with the cars around him. Although many of the cars around him are also damaged, so maybe keep that in mind. Thad Miller making a great move down to the bottom side. That's going to get him up one more on the scoring pylon. 94 trying to work his way around Bilson on the high side. I think he may get clear with the help of the draft, but I tell you what, for as bad as that 0-0 looks, he's not as far off pace as I would expect. So at least putting up a bit of a fight. Then you've got the number 2, Justin White, right behind him. He's still got quite a bit of damage as well. I think a few of these guys, Peter, are probably just waiting for the next caution so they can hopefully get the bodywork beat out of the dents and everything as quick as they can. But in the meantime, somebody in the wall up a little bit further in the grid there. It was a blue machine. May have been Elaine. Number 7, a little bit further back. Whoa, no! Paul Bilston.
Well, that next caution that you said that Paul Wilson was going to come in and get it fixed up, well, I think...
he was the caution.
Yeah, he was the caution. Let's see if we can get a look at this one here on 3 Wide TV. We'll see exactly what happened here as he works his way out of turn number 4, kind of runs up on the back of Jimbo Casterline there. Not sure if he got out of the gas, but I think we're going to have to get another look maybe on board with Paul Bilson. Did he kind of check up to not get into the back of Jimbo? You see Jimbo way up out of the groove, and he comes up on him real fast. I would have to think he did there, Andre, and then it looked like I think the number 2 was right back behind him. And let's see if we can get a ride on board with Justin White here. Looking out front of the Grinds Coffee Pouches machine, and well, that kind of has it. I was going to say, I would have thought that White would have given him a little bit of a love tap, but I think in that instance that definitely wasn't the case. Let's get one more look at this one.
I think the wall just sort of ejected Paul. Yeah, you can see right there, he scrapes the wall, and it just kind of ejects him down the track. Now, again, I mentioned at the top of the broadcast, this is an older scan. And one of the things with these older scans is the walls tend to have some very strange properties. And sometimes they do. They just bounce you across the track. The hit registry is off just a little bit. And I think, unfortunately, that's what claimed Paul Bilson, who is now in the pits, as well as Justin White, Mike Tellier, Garrett Gleason, Jason Shu, all those drivers involved in one of the last 2 incidents, trying to get their cars fixed up. But for Bilson, I don't think there's any fixing that. That is more than likely terminal damage.
Yeah, and so Paul Bilson's bad luck continues. It was a lap 1 accident at Irie Singh Super Speedway. Things did not go to plan last week at Kentucky Speedway, and here tonight, a very early extended stay on pit road. I think Bilson's been able to get back onto the racetrack last couple of weeks. Well, last week it was because of the fast repairs, but no fast repairs here this week, and that is going to be to the bane of the Tide ride here tonight. Probably needs to throw on some Tide onto that car to get it all cleaned up. Garrett Gleason rolling off pit road, Jason Shu and Justin White. Now, one thing I was going to mention, Andre, that I was thinking about a little while ago is it might not be a bad idea if you're like Justin White here to come down onto pit road and really just stay on pit road. Go a lap down. Because if you go a lap down, we do have a stage caution. That stage caution is scheduled here per the calendar I have. Now, the calendar I have was not correct last week. Hopefully it is this week. Lap number 35. So that would be a caution flag to come out at lap number 35. We do have stage cautions here in the Stay Tuned Sports series. So, if you go a lap down but get all of your damage fixed, is it better than, staying on the lead lap and not getting all of your damage fixed? I guess that's something people can debate at home, but I guess it really depends on how much damage you have, because, doing the whole 20-second burst of damage repair can sometimes get a little bit old and not as effective.
Yeah, definitely not as effective. And I think with this field size, the more I think about it, it probably wouldn't be that bad to go a lap down. And there's only 14 cars now that Paul Bilson is very likely going behind the wall. So that means there's not a lot of competition for the free waiver round. If you go a lap down right now, and we get another caution in short order, which 14 laps in, we've got 2 cautions. Trends of the race, Larry Mack says we probably will get another caution sometime soon. You're going to get that lap back, and when you get it back, you're going to have a fresh race car. You're going to have a lot of that damage repaired. If I'm a driver, I'm probably just taking the hit and going a lap down. But I guess number 2 machine thought differently. Here we come down to the line. Barney waving the green flag again, and Adam Newton wasting no time, weaving up and down the track. He's doing the IndyCar maneuvers. He is down into turn 1 in the solo lead, but Tom Lester trying to charge it into the corner, trying to get clear of Mitchell Adams if he can, and he does. Here comes Adams with a bit of a crossover. That was an aggressive move out of the corner, but it's not going to be enough. And here we go, down into the more sweeping corner. Look at this. The 29 machine of McKee. The blue flag menace from last week. He's up inside the top 5. He is looking to make a bid for 4th if he can. But Joshua Corner also making his presence known. A lot of drivers getting a little bit squirrely out of the corner. 0.3 of a second lead for Newton. And meanwhile, here we go. Here's a battle between the 95 and the 47. This is going to be for 9th position. They called it a battle, but it wasn't much of one as Mike Tellier made short work of competition. He's going to get that position clear back to single file. Justin White in that damaged machine, holding on to 11th, currently trying to run down that 95, and actually closes in quite a few car lengths going into that corner. And caution number 3, Jimbo Casterline in the number 18 machine. Going to have some trouble coming through the corner and some rear end damage. Looks like he may have backed it into the wall, but we will find out for certain. Here on the 3-wide TV replay, he's following Garrett Gleason. Gets into the corner, a little bit hot. I think he just locked up the brakes trying to avoid making contact with the cars ahead, and then loops it around. And I'm honestly a little bit surprised that was a caution, because there wasn't really anybody around. No, the 3 was behind him. So that's probably the trigger, if I had to guess. Yes, that would be the trigger. He got a tap from the number 3. Didn't even notice that.
Yeah, unfortunately, Jason Shu coming in there and hitting the number 18. He's out there on the racetrack. Just came back out onto the circuit, I think. Nope, just catching up to the tail end of the field here as we will be getting some pit stops here. Well, I thought there was going to be pit stops here. iRacing pace car lights continue to twinkle. Interesting to see the flagman kind of waving the caution flag, and then the arm must have got tired or something, because then all of a sudden he decided to stop waving the flag as we're working our 3rd caution here in the opening 18 laps. A little bit of a surprise, honestly, Andre, that we've had 3 cautions here in the opening 18 laps. We only had 3 cautions in totality last week, and that was with fast repairs. I know we often think fast repairs allow the drivers to kind of get that into their head where they race maybe a little bit more aggressively, but here already with a couple of issues. I just kind of wonder if these drivers are running their brake bias really far back to try and get the car to rotate. We did hear from Garrett Gleason that I guess he wasn't a big fan of the setup. Maybe it's kind of tight here tonight, but that's one of the things about this particular race rate. Very difficult to get a good setup because the two ends of this racetrack are so different from one another. I mean, I think they're even more different here than they are at Darlington, similar shaped racetrack, but here in particular, turn number 3 and 4 are very flat compared to 1 and 2.
Yeah, 1 and 2, it's the tighter of the corners, and it has that banking to compensate. But I can tell you, when you're driving this track, you really don't feel that banking. It feels like you're driving a flat corner because the car so desperately wants to get tight, it wants to slide out, and then the only time you really feel the banking, in fact, is when you come out of the corner. You go from having that moderate amount of banking down to the flat, and when the suspension unloads, the car gets a little bit squirrely on you, wants to fishtail, which is why we've seen so many drivers do that tonight. You can see right about there. It's a pretty aggressive transition back to the flat, and then of course 3 and 4 is mostly flat all the way around, so definitely a tricky track to navigate. That wall right there is also a bit of an optical illusion. Sometimes you want to run the outside, and sometimes you go a little bit too far. You clip that wall, and let me tell you, when that happens, bad things happen. It is almost never good. But lights are off on the pace car. It's going to turn down, not on the access road. It's going to turn down just before the entrance of pit road, although I think in real life the pace car does take the access. But in the meantime, through 3 and 4, pace car making a sharp left-hander. And it's going to be Adam Newton once again, the 4th time tonight, the 3rd restart of the night, leading the field of green, this time opting to take that outside groove. 48, Tom Lester. This is new territory. He's never had the bottom on a restart against Adam Newton. Let's see if he can make use of it. Down into the corner. Good run on the high side from 3rd place, Elaine. That run's going to be stalled out as Lester slides up the track, throws a bit of a block on him. That opens the door for Mitchell Adams to take 3rd place, which he does. Now down the back straightaway, very familiar scenes as Adam Newton leaves the way. And looks like Mitchell Adams might actually be trying for second place here as well. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah, Mitchell Adams at least currently not able to take it. Well, as I say that, gets a strong run up off the corner, allowed it to rotate, backed it up a little bit, got that strong run down the front stretch, and he's going to make me a liar here and try and take that spot, although he's in the less preferred bottom groove through turn number 1 and 2. You see him struggle a little bit with grip up off the corner, getting all types of sideways. And he might have to drop back here behind the number 48. And now that's allowed TJ Elaine to start to close in his number 49 machine. As might have been a little bit of contact there, as now the 49 gets underneath the 83. So Adams here slid back to 4th. He started in 13, so still plus 9 positions since the drop of the initial green. But for right now, Mitchell Adams going to have to do a little bit of recovery. Now, one thing I was interested in, Andre, is we talked about how flat this racetrack is. Well, one of the kind of unique features of this racetrack is how flat even the straightaways are. I'm trying to actually find a banking number for those straightaways. Usually they look very flat, but usually they have a couple of degrees of banking. It looks to me like this front and back stretch actually are completely flat, which would be shocking. You don't have that, and that's probably one of the things that makes this racetrack so difficult, because you transition from however much banking you have to being completely flat. It absolutely drops away from you. You don't have gravity doing any of the help anymore, and it makes for a pretty tricky track.
Yeah, the transition is definitely one of the most difficult things, and that's why we see drivers like Mitchell Adams continually having issues. And oh my goodness, Justin White going around. That's going to be a caution again. Garrett Gleason able to make the evasive maneuver of the century right there. I don't know how he missed Justin White, but he somehow got that thing swerved out of the way. Take a look at the 3-wide TV replay. Justin White drives it in pretty deep right here, but Mike Tellier drives it deeper. Gives him a bit of a shot to the rear bumper. So that's, is there something going on between those two, Peter? Because that's 2 for 2 between Mike Tellier and Justin White.
That is 2 for 2. I think Justin might have tried to check up because of the two cars in front of him side by side. And then when that happened, I think Tellier kind of might have just got into the back. Let's right on board with Tellier. Let's see if we can see, well,
That is a hard hit. I mean, that wasn't gentle at all.
Yeah, that was a pretty good nudge. That's for certain. So I think Tellier has taken his car actually to the garage. I think Tellier's night might be done here. I'm not sure if maybe he got parked. Might have to see here whether or not that's the case. But I think we do have a couple of drivers on pit road. Andre, not sure if you're actually in the session or not. Maybe you have more intel than I do, but I'll look to the 3-wide TV chat. Todd Miller in the chat saying hello. Thanks for the great broadcast. I get to sit here at Iowa and watch Dad run his old car while he is in North Carolina. Thanks for tuning on in here tonight, Todd. It's been kind of a topsy-turvy opening 25 laps here tonight, so a long way left to go here tonight. Worldwide Technology Park, Gateway International, whatever you wish to call this racetrack. It goes by many names. Joshua Corner saying, this is fun. I don't know. Is that a little bit of sarcasm there, do you think, Andre, since they're under caution again here tonight?
Might be. Might just be just a wee bit of sarcasm. Or, I mean, maybe he's having fun. You never know.
Hey, he's in the top 5, so,
Yeah.
If he was dead last, I'd say, yeah, that's definitely sarcasm. But at least for right now, Joshua Corner running inside the top 5, probably having some fun, at least when they're out there going in green flag action. As back behind them, Brent McKee and Thad Miller, there is the number 81. Let's see if we can get a look on board with the 3-wide TV gyro cam. And of course, we just recently got the technology to be able to kind of pan around. There is Thad. You get to see those hands at work, at least here under caution. Now, interestingly enough, it looks like that's an Evel Knievel kind of...
Yes, it does.
Kind of thing that he's wearing. Well, Interestingly enough, this racetrack back in 1972, Evel Knievel went to what was then named as the St. Louis International Raceway, did 2 jumps here. He arrived at the racetrack, did it at the drag strip, and jumped over 10 cars on both days. So kind of a unique fact about this racetrack. So, sometimes I'm looking at things while you're talking, Andre, and that's one of the things that kind of crossed or at least I saw, and well, it just so happened to pan out that Thad Miller here with that special look is up. Didn't mean for you guys to see that, but we're about to go back green flag here, so let's jump outside the car, and Adam Newton is taking the screen.
Speaking of observations, Peter, can we go on board with that 29 on McKee as we go to this restart? I want to see the back of that number 16 machine. I want to see if what I just saw is actually accurate. Yeah, that's a whole lot of taillights on that 16. maybe about 6 too many on the back.
Well, you've heard of 4 eyes. What about 6 taillights? Or maybe 12 taillights?
Peter, he's one of the only drivers who hasn't been rear-ended. And it's because everybody knows when he's braking.
Yeah, he's got more taillights than he can count on 2 hands, and that's doing the trick right now as they head down off into turn number 1 here. And the side-by-side battle is for second again. Mitchell Adams has slipped back to 4th, but he says, Thad Miller's around 81. In the back. And that is down into the grass. And, yeah, spares the cone, spares the wall. There is a little bit of left side damage on the number 81. He's trying to get it back going. Finally able to do so. That's not going to bring out a caution here, Andre, but let's see if we can get a 3-wide TV replay lined up for everyone at home.
Yeah, I want to see where this left side damage came from, unless he already had it, because that is a little bit confusing to me. It looks like he already had it going into this incident. It just gets a little bit loose through the corner. You can see it sliding halfway through, and then clips through the cone and just barely able to keep it off the wall. It was good recovery. But unfortunate for Thad, because did not trigger a caution. We'll go on board. Keep your eye on that steering wheel. You're going to see that car start to slip up right about there. At that point, he's already sliding and just a little bit late on the catch. But good save, kept it off the wall, which keeps him from having any more damage than he already has. But now he's just hoping for a caution because he is so far back from the field and not really going to make that up under green. There he is right there, currently 18.2 seconds back from the leader and 10 seconds back from the next car, Jason Shu, in that 3 machine. Out front, still single file, Adam Newton leads the way, but for the first time in a while, Mitchell Adams gets some clean air in front of him. He gets around Lester for second place, not being challenged from behind, so he can run the most optimal lines. And that's one of the reasons that battling another car is going to slow both of them down so much. And that's something that the viewers at home may not really understand, is when somebody is on the attack and they're trying to pass you, sometimes you got to run suboptimal lines just to defend, which means you're not carrying as much speed through the corner as you otherwise would, because if they get down to the bottom and they prevent you from arcing the corner, then you're just stuck on the high side. So it's better just to enter down low, take a slightly slower approach to the corner, but don't open up that lane. And that's what Mitchell Adams had to do when he was battling that 48. Now he's free and actually gaining. But on board with Chris Pendel behind the Mustang Tang. He's got a double set of taillights here, closing in so much on the corner. My goodness. I can't believe there was no contact there. But again, those taillights doing wonders. Let them know.
Oh, corner getting loose. Holy smokes, they're making their own corners out of the back stretch as they zigzag back and forth. I gotta say, I think these cars are getting a little bit sideways, a little bit squirrely here as these tires start to wear on. They do have limited tire sets here in the Stay Tuned Sports Xfinity Series, so I'm just wondering if some of these tires are kind of getting to the end of their life as we are closing in on what we believe to be the stage caution, and Mitchell Adams is there. Mitchell is really closing in here. We've seen him kind of race really hard, Andre, and make up some moves. I would have thought maybe would have kind of used up his tires a little bit with all those passes that he has made, but he's doing everything he can. You see him kind of diamond the racetrack here. We saw him do this a little while ago not finding the grip up off the corner this time. He's going to lose time through 3 and 4 as Adam Newton continues to lead. He so far led every lap in the number 4 PPG machine.
One thing to keep in mind with this battle, and the reason Mitchell Adams is probably driving so hard, and I don't think we mentioned it, but there is a stage in this race. There's going to be a stage at lap 35, so very close to the end of this stage. Mitchell Adams wants to win the stage, but I'm not sure he's going to be close enough to get there. Made a good effort at it, down into the corner, going to close in just a little bit more through the center of the turn. That's where that 4 carries so much speed. He is able to extend that lead back up just a little bit to the stripe. I believe it's going to be at the end of lap 35 is the stage. So white flag for the stage. Mitchell Adams a little bit closer this time into 1 than he was last time. If he gets a good corner through here, sets up a good run down the straightaway, he's got a shot at making the overtake down into 4 on board with Mitchell Adams. Quite a bit of distance, maybe not lunging distance unless the 4 makes a mistake, but we'll have to wait and see. Final set of turns for the first stage. 4 gets a very good entry, enters up high, arcs it down low, hits the apex. And while Mitchell Adams does close in ever so slightly, it is going to be Adam Newton taking the stage.
Yeah, that will be more bonus points to add to the tally in the number 4 machine's pocket, as Brent McKee will be the 8th place driver to come across the line. Let's see if that caution flag waves. And there it is, caution flag for the 5th time here tonight, but the one and only stage caution that we have here on hand. That's right, only one stage. They don't do multiple like they do in NASCAR, just one, and they do give out bonus points. So Adam Newton, Andre, 2 for 2 in the wins tally. Been very, very good so far this year, and looking to extend that here tonight.
Yeah, he definitely could do that. I mean, we've seen a lot of speed out of that number 4 so far, and I think the only contender is going to be Mitchell Adams from what we've seen tonight. I mean, he's just been reeling him in little by little, and it's going to be a good battle between the two. And honestly, can't discount Lester or Elaine. Those guys have also thrown their hats into the ring at various points and shown some pace, so should be good battles across the board as they come down to the pit access road. I would expect most everybody to come down pit road, and they are going to. Adam Newton leading them to that inside paved strip. And like I said, everybody either has some damage to fix or some tires to swap out. So it's going to be a busy, busy pit road here on lap 37.
Yeah, this is the only guaranteed caution, here tonight. I mean, we could go green flag from here on out. Now, you might be saying at home, well, at the rate they're coming, probably not, and that might be true. But for at least right now, this is the only guaranteed caution, Andre. So you kind of, in my opinion, you kind of always want to burn a set of tires here. You just don't know what the rest of the race entails, but you almost got a little bit of a reset here, if you will. There's a whole bunch of cars heading to their pit box and have about 116. Well, I was going to say everyone's going to their pit box. Garrett Gleason decided to just drive through all of the pit boxes. Got a little bit of a head scratcher. Looks like the rest of the field down and away. Adam Newton not going to be the first driver off pit road. And Jimbo Casterline also did not pit. So Jimbo in the number 18 likely led that last lap. Not 100% sure, but likely did. So looks like we're going to have a new leader for this upcoming restart. Brent McKee, he did not take tires under this round of pit stops. Not sure if he took tires earlier in the night. No, only showing one pit stop. So Brent McKee, Andre, making a little bit of a strategy call, thinking maybe we're going to kind of keep this caution trend going and maybe have another tire change at some point here in the future. That will be more advantageous to him.
He made a call. I wouldn't call it strategy. I don't see any way that this ends well for him, but who knows? Maybe he's going to prove me wrong. I've seen some crazy things happen, but right now I'm just thinking there's some fast cars behind him. They got fresh tires. I'm not seeing the advantage here. But Casterline, McKee up front. It's going to be an interesting restart, that's for certain. And as the lights are still on, actually, I would like to pull Adam Newton to the booth just for a quick word. See if I can get him in here. Mr. Newton, it's Andre up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, Adam, you're trying to make it 3 for 3 tonight, and so far it's a good start. You won stage 1, and you have been one of the fastest cars on track, if not the fastest car on track. How you feeling behind the wheel?
Right now I'm a little nervous. It's a little tight and really loose off. I'm kind of skeptical about the long run right now at the minute, but I think if you have a little bit of clean air, patience, I think it'll be a good race.
Yeah, it's never fun when your car is tight and loose. I know exactly what you mean, as contradictory as that sounds. This track has been pretty tough for a lot of the guys in the field. We've seen a lot of drivers getting loose out of the corners, kind of slapping the wall occasionally. What's the key so far for you to get around this track successfully?
Rolling the center, not getting in the gas too early, and maintaining your tires. That's the huge thing right now.
So taking a bit of a conservative approach, maintaining the tires, rolling the centers. I would say generally good advice. Adam, we're going to wish you the best of luck. We're going to put you back with your team, and hopefully we're talking to you again soon.
Thank you, man.
Stage winner out of the booth, and every time we talk to him, he kind of says the same thing. It's car's kind of off. I don't feel too good. And then he goes and he wins. So we'll see if that trend continues.
Yeah, I remember all these drivers here in the series have the same. You know what, folks? I think I'm having some connection issues here tonight on my end. Let me know if you're having connection issues on your end. But I might have to kind of stop and. Can you hear me fine?
Yeah, I got you. I've not noticed any connection issues. I mean, your stream on my end is crystal clear.
Not in the YouTube world.
Oh,
as
no.
Adam Newton, it's not crystal clear in his world either, as he's dropping down onto pit road here. And this is a shocker. Not sure whether he got a drive-through penalty or some sort, but that's going to give the race lead to Adam Newton. Let me see if there's something that I need to do on my end. Text my wife and see maybe if she's doing something on the computer. Yeah, I'm struggling with connection on my end. But Mitchell Adams out there, not struggling on his end. That's for certain.
No, he was just kind of gifted the race lead there. I don't know what happened to Adam Newton, but I'm a little bit baffled. It didn't. We just talked to him after he pit, and he didn't mention anything about a penalty. I would think he would have mentioned that in the interview if he got it. So I am very confused here.
Yeah, I'm very confused here as well, as I think my connection is starting to stable. Well, as I say that, my connection still hasn't stabilized. Yeah, I don't know if Andre, if you can check on my YouTube and see if it's struggling. But my internet speed seems fine, but it just seems like my connection to the YouTube server, for whatever reason, is having problems here tonight. Seems like it might be resolving itself as we talk. But something's not resolving itself, and that is the caution flag. And we got cars around in the back of the field. And it looks like hopefully my connection issue clears up just as the front stretch doesn't clear up, as we are back under the caution flag. Onboard Thad Miller here. I think something must have happened either with the 81 or a car in front of the 29 machine. The 16 machine, and then Miller involved, and then the number 95 also catching a piece of it, William Ratcliffe, as it was dominoes on the front stretch. I mean, I don't know if dominoes or Beyblades or a little bit of both.
Yeah, that was spinning blades of doom is what that was. I mean, the way they were rotating was nothing short of terrifying. The 29 of McKee, looks like Justin White got into the wall, ping-ponged the 29 down into the inside wall, and from there, just utter pandemonium coming down the straightaway. Meanwhile, you got Garrett Gleason saying, I'm just going to check up. I'm going to stop right here and let this sort itself out. And it worked out. He was able to avoid it, but no contact between the 29 and the 2. I think the 2 just a little bit overzealous here on the corner exit, maybe trying to ride that safer barrier where it arcs in, but missed it by that much. And this will tell the full story. One car after another. I'll tell you what, while these cars come down pit road to get recollected, let's throw it to a quick break. Maybe Peter can sort out his connection. I can grab another water real quick. We'll be back for the drop of the green. Won't miss a thing here in the NSRA.
All right, folks, we are back here on 3 Wide TV, and you know what? I don't even think we're live. Let's see if we can go back live, and we are back live, and like pace car lights have turned off. We're getting set to go back to green flag racing here momentarily. Do want to update a couple of drivers on pit road. Jimbo Casterline, Thad Miller, and Brent McKee still in their pit box. 29 of McKee definitely worse for wear. Thad Miller doesn't look too bad, but currently is 3 laps down and been on pit road for about 3.5 minutes here. So that is very much unfortunate for Thad. I know we had his dad, Todd, in the chat here tonight, but hopefully he can get back out there and pick up some valuable points because, well, Andre, you know, I don't know if we're done with those caution flags here tonight, as the green flag is going to wave. Hopefully we're done. Hopefully my connection holds out for the rest of the race as well. As going off towards turn number 1, here comes Tom Lester. Now, one person that this really helped out, Andre, Adam Newton in the number 4 machine, back up into the top 5 as Christopher Pendel smacks the wall again. He's done it a couple of times here tonight, right on lap number 1, and here the first lap since the restart.
Yeah, getting a lot of bang for his buck there, trying to make these overtakes, and he will get clear up into 4th place. So Adam Newton trying to overcome whatever that setback was on pit road. Again, I have no idea what that may have been. It seemed like a penalty, but you know, he didn't mention anything in the interview. On board with Justin White. He's taking a bit of a lower line than the car ahead, and that's going to close him in just a little bit, trying to get up to Pendel. It has been a long night for Justin White. He has been clobbered not once but twice. Now he's back up inside the top 10, trying to reel in the few cars ahead, and we've got a modified on the track. That's going to be Josh Corner with no front end. Very good airflow. You know, he may be down a few revs, but I can tell you one thing: he will never have to worry about overheating or have to worry about his brake lights. He can spare a few of those. So, you know, overall, little victories for Josh Corner.
Yeah, I was going to say, it wasn't the whole getting run over thing in the end that led to damage. It was unfortunately out the front end. Maybe, do you think next week we're going to see a lot of headlights on the number 16 machine? That would be kind of funny, wouldn't it? Again, just throw on headlight after headlight after headlight. I don't know, Josh. Maybe you make that happen. Maybe do both. Even better. 10 tail lights and 10 headlights, and maybe that will keep the car clean. Just a thought. I don't know. I mean, us commentators, we don't know very much anyway. But up at the front of the field, look who has crept his way up into 4th in the number 4 machine, looking for 3 wins in the opening 3 races. But Mitchell Adams has set sail up at the front of the field, and now out to about a 1.5 second advantage over Tom Lester.
Yeah, and even if the number 4 is the faster car at the moment, he's still got a lot of traffic to deal with. He's got to battle with these guys, and by the time he gets up into 2nd, if he does get to 2nd, he will have used up his equipment much more than Adams, who's just up there running his line, setting the pace of the race, not really pushing his car too hard. So definitely at a bit of a disadvantage right now for Adam Newton, but again, we're pretty early in the race. We're only about a third of the way through, so we've got a lot of racing left to go. Things can change in a hurry here in the NSRA, and he's not able to quite make the move. Got to give props to Elaine in that 49. He gave him the lane. Up front, look at that. 2nd place car, way up the track, sacrifices a ton of time. Tom Lester now falling back to the clutches of these guys, so it was a 2-car battle. It may now be 3 cars as they go down into 1.
Yeah, that number 48, Tom Lester, not looking super happy. But, here we go. Number 4 machine getting underneath TJ Elaine. Elaine kind of washed up the racetrack just a little bit. And I think that's going to be enough for the number 4 to kind of have the preferred groove going off into turn number... that was turn number 3 there. So the 4 up to 3rd.
That was a great pass and really good driving by Elaine as well. I mean, he was never pinching the number 4 when he was on the defensive. He gave him the lane. He just maintained his momentum, made sure to race it clean. And then when the 4 did get up underneath him, he left him just enough room to make the move while maintaining his own speed. So Elaine definitely knows what he's doing behind the wheel. And look at how sideways that number 4 of Adam Newton gets. out of the turn. You can tell he's wheeling that thing for all it's worth because he knows he's got to close in while the tires are fresh, because once they hit that plateau, he's not really going to be going anywhere. So trying to get a little bit closer to Tom Lester, but Lester doing a pretty solid job up there in second. He made that one mistake a few laps ago, got into the corner a little bit hot, overcooked it, but for the most part, he's been pretty consistent, and he's got one of the very few clean cars out on the track. 94, a little bit further back after Elaine got overtaken. He kind of fell back a little bit, and Pendel closed this gap. Now, Pendel's got a fair bit of damage on both sides. He's got right side damage, he's got left side damage. I'm not entirely certain if he's going to be able to do a whole lot with that car, but you never know.
Yeah, that right side damage definitely doesn't seem to be helping him. Started this race in the sixth spot, now running in fifth. Of course, we have had a couple of drivers who started in front of him, like Mike Tellier, have trouble here tonight as Pendel has a big slide there in the corner. These cars just don't seem settled here tonight, Andre. They seem like a little bit of a handful. We heard that earlier from Adam Newton, who's closing in on the back of Tom Lester. Let's jump up to the number 4 machine. Here we go, on board with Adam Newton. Interesting. Look at that in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. You see the speed, but underneath the speed, what do you see? You see what gear they're in. They only have 4 gears, but Adam Newton here shifting down into third in the corners and then back up to fourth. He's doing that on both ends of the racetrack, and again, the number 48 struggling to get grip. I just wonder if maybe part of that is the fact that they are changing gears. They're getting the kind of high up in the revs, and then the revs are not quite matching, and that's causing the back end to kick out as Adam Newton, just like that, whips around the 48 up into second, and is going to have to march about 2 seconds up the road to Adam Newton.
Yeah, when you downshift in these corners, you're obviously going to have a lot better acceleration up out of the turn, and the car is going to rotate a little bit better down in third gear as well, but of course that comes at the cost of your stability. The car is going to be a little bit harder to control, and I think you're definitely right. That is why we're seeing a lot of these guys get as loose as they're getting. But, you can't really afford to ride around in fourth. Look, if shifting down to third is faster, then that's what these guys are going to be doing. And if you're the one guy staying in fourth, yeah, sure, your car is going to be super stable, and you're not really at any risk of making a mistake. But you're also probably not going to be leading the race anyway. So, sometimes you got to drive aggressive just to compete. That's what these guys are doing.
Yeah, they're out there trying to compete. One of those drivers trying to compete 13 laps down, Thad Miller, back into the mix after lengthy repair on pit road after being involved in that last accident. So the good news is clicking off laps here in the number 81. That's, whoa! Your race leader, the number 83 of Mitchell Adams. One heck of a moment there out of turn number 4. Let's see if we can dial that one up on a 3-wide TV replay.
Yeah, that was very close to being night over. That pit road wall was coming up in a hurry. Taking a look at the 3-wide TV replay to try to scope out exactly what happened, although I think probably the same story we've seen many, many times tonight. Probably just a little bit loose out of the corner and a little bit of a panic save, but he's able to get it straightened out. He just sacrificed a little bit of time to Adam Newton behind him. 1.4 seconds the gap now, but I think he's been able to maintain that for the last lap or two. So you can see the lap that he made that mistake, Newton gained 0.5 of a second, and then that lap it was 0.2 to be gained. So he is reeling him in, but only a little bit at a time.
Yeah, green there for Adam Newton is good. So Adam Newton just starting to claw away. We'll see what happens this time as Mitchell Adams slides up the racetrack in turn number 3. Although we've seen him kind of do that here tonight, kind of back up the corner. I think he's doing that to help save the tires maybe a little bit as well. We'll see how that works out as the run goes on. That time by actually give the advantage to Mitchell Adams by 0.005 of a second. So pretty much negligible difference between those two this time. But we're closing in on the halfway mark here tonight in the National Sim Racing Association Stay Tuned Sports Series. Want to give a big shout out to Harpoon Designs and harpoondesigns.com for sponsoring the pole award this season. That going to the number 4 machine of Adam Newton. And, if you're lazy and you don't want to go to harpoondesigns.com, but you're in the chat, and you know what? You might be like, you know what? I'll click on a link, and instead of type it all in, I'm just going to post the link in the chat for you folks, and hopefully you can click on that, and it'll all be okay. Hopefully my connection issues stay all good here tonight, but well, you get some good green flag racing in here, and at least for right now, the racetrack battle's starting to die off a little bit, although looks like TJ Elaine starting to close in a little bit on Tom Lester, and with Lester's issues we've seen with him get loose up off the corner, this could be very quickly a battle for the third position brewing.
Yeah, sometimes on these longer runs, and it has been a while since we've seen a caution, you see the cars kind of stretch out at the beginning of the run, and then they kind of slinky back together, and I think that may be what we're seeing with Lester and Elaine. They're starting to wheel each other in here, and it could be a battle. Meanwhile, Pendel is a little bit behind those guys, and again, all that damage not doing him any favors. I think at this point, his best bet is make your laps. Don't worry too much about reeling everybody in. Don't do that. Number one, don't do that. That could have been bad.
Yeah, that definitely could have been a moment. Meanwhile, in the back half of the top 10, we got Josh Corner here and Jason Shu, a couple of banged-up race cars running behind William Ratcliffe, just ahead of them. 3 cars underneath a second here, duking it out for those spots. Every spot matters here in the Stay Tuned Sports podcast series, and William Ratcliffe there smacking the wall, and looks like that's going to open up the door here for Joshua Corner towards turn 3. Corner gets underneath him and looks like he's going to take the 8. No, Ratcliffe fights back, but he goes way up the racetrack again, almost catching the wall again there through the center of the corner. That's not going to help. Jason Shu also able to squeak on through to move Corner up to 8th, Shu up into 9th, and Ratcliffe slides back to 10th. The next car behind Ratcliffe is Jimbo Casterline. But currently, the Lightning, the Thunder machine is 2 laps down. So needs to bring out the Lightning and the Thunder to get himself back up on the lead lap. Would take 2 lucky dogs to see the number 18 compete for these positions. And with the way rate caution flags have been coming out, that's likely to happen is Mitchell Adams up at the front of the field here, Andre. He's letting it all hang out. He's kind of gapped Adam Newton another 0.3 or so back up to 1.7 seconds for the race lead.
Yeah, right as we cut away from him, it looked like Jimbo was getting a little bit sideways in the corner. I think he saved it, but definitely came in a little bit hot. You can see the gap with the car ahead has increased as well. So definitely had a bit of a bobble, but how did he save it?
Well, I'm just so daggone good.
He's just that good. Got it back around. He's continuing on.
He's just that good. That's right. Bringing out the soundboard here. Jimbo riding on board with him here as he works his way out of turn number 4. And Andre, I think Jimbo had said a couple of weeks ago that, by saying his name or something like that, we jinxed him back at iRacing Super Speedway. Let's keep our close eye on him. Let's see if we can bring out the 3YTV ray gun again on Jimbo. He might fire us if that happens, though.
Well, he paid in advance, so you can fire us. You ain't getting it back.
Yeah, the number 18 machine here. I kind of like, honestly, the paint scheme that he's got going on. It very much reminds me of the kind of the schemes you'd get back in NASCAR Thunder 2004. Definitely reminds me of that Thunder scheme that was, I think I had made a couple of cars with the Thunder paint scheme over the years and run them, but Jimbo now down the backstretch, you get a good look of that. In fact, that's even similar number font to what you'd get back in the EA Sports games, and I'll tell you what, good looking ride, but 2 laps down for now. Back up at the front of the field, it kind of ebbs and flows back to 1.5 seconds. You got pretty much a gap, pretty much an equidistance gap to most of the cars on the track. In fact, you can see there, bottom right-hand corner of your screen, there is the graphic. The race leader coming out of turn number 4 at the bottom of the racetrack on the graphic is the start-finish line, where the 83, the 4, the 48, and 49 will cross over. Then a little bit of a gap back to Christopher Pendel who's been struggling last 10 laps or so, then Justin White, who's heavily damaged, and then Garrett Gleason, who's still got a clean race car.
I can't believe how sideways he just got. And he didn't even give up that much time to Newton, but, I mean, he was waving to the infield fans right there. And, I mean, if you're Mitchell Adams, you got to calm down. You got to think about last week. You know, he had the win in the bag, threw it away with a late race mistake. You do not want to repeat that 2 weeks in a row. We'll go on board 3Y TV replay. Check out how loose he got right here. He's full lock to the right, then back to the left, fishtailing. I mean, how he saved that thing, I don't know, but he was able to maintain the lead, just get a little bit of time to Newton.
I'll tell you what, they're dirt tracking these cars up out of the corner here tonight. They 100% are dirt tracking them out of the corner because they just with the attitude of the car up off the corner. I mean, that's what you see when they race on dirt. Is just completely sideways again, kind of yawing out just a little bit, just enough to notice that they're kind of yawing out. And you got to think, Andre, that's the fact that they're shifting here tonight. That, you know, you can see them. You can see actually when they shift down, you see some flames coming out the exhaust pipes, and then they shift back up to fourth gear. But while they're kind of high up in the revs, those cars are rotating, and then all of a sudden they get nice and tight when they shift up into fourth gear. That's got to be that odd dichotomy that we're seeing and have heard about here tonight, that they probably are tight in fourth gear, and then they get really free in third gear. And it's just they're having to manage that all night long. As speaking of managing that, Adam Newton's starting to manage his tires maybe a little bit better. He's now up to 0.7 of a second behind. We might have a battle for the race lead here as we will see the crossed flag this time by to indicate we're halfway home here tonight at Worldwide Technology Raceway.
And, you know, I got to think back to the interview we had with Adam Newton. He said, best way to get around this track is to take it easy, hold the center, save your tires, and he may be one of few drivers that is actually thinking about conservation, or if he's thinking about conservation, maybe everybody else is too, but he's one of the few that's actually able to achieve that, because we're not seeing him get loose, we're not seeing him slide. On the contrary, our leader, Mitchell Adams, he's sliding every single corner, and each one of those slides is going to degrade those tires. It's going to make them worse lap after lap, and it has opened up the number 4 to close this gap, and he's there. He's at the bumper, and it is now going to be a battle for the lead with Adams playing defense to a disadvantage. Worse tires, maybe a worse handling machine, and hard charging number 4. This is going to be a fun battle.
You know, one thing that interests me about this battle for the race lead is you think back to when the Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Truck Series was run and we were racing in trucks. This driver right here that we're riding on board with, Mitchell Adams, was so good in the trucks. Not as much horsepower, though. A lot more downforce. That kind of downforce to horsepower ratio was a little bit higher for the trucks than what we have here with these B-Class cars. They have a little bit more horsepower, a little bit less downforce, and I just wonder if that suits the driving style of Adam Newton maybe just a little bit more as Newton gets underneath Mitchell Adams. This is the battle for the race lead here as we work lap number 77. They're going to come to the stripe this time, and I think Adams has a nose ahead, at least for now. They head off towards turn number 1, and yeah, Thad Miller right there. They have to take it 3 wide. That's going to thwart Adam Newton. Mitchell Adams at least able to hold on to the race lead for now.
Yeah, he's going to hold on to it just barely. Number 4 not going to give up that easy. He's going to regroup, try it again, and we're going to see through the center of the corner. He should close this gap. The 83 wiggles up the track, has to chase the car a little bit. That brings Newton right back to his bumper. Now they're going to be heading down the front straightaway, down into the tighter of the 2 corners. And that 83 not correcting those mistakes. He is still getting loose. Comes Newton down to the low side. I think he's going to maybe be able to get to the quarter panel here on corner exit. Maybe not. He's close, but not quite a cigar yet. More lap cars up in the distance, by the way. Ratcliffe, Corner, and Lester not far from going a lap down. They could definitely play a part in this battle. But the longer the 83 keeps the 4 at bay, the more difficult it's going to be for Adam Newton to make this move. Because eventually, Adam Newton's going to drive that thing so hard trying to make the pass that he's going to cook his own tires. That's going to be a level playing field between him and the leader. That advantage he has will be gone. That's exactly what Mitchell Adams is hoping to achieve here. He's doing a good job, despite the fact that he's struggling with the handling. he's fast enough that the Ford just can't quite make the move without moving him. And I don't think Adam's going to do that. I think if he's going to make the move, he's going to make it clean, which is it's going to keeping him at bay, at least for now.
Yeah, at least for right now. As I go back to what I was mentioning about Mitchell Adams being so good in the trucks. He actually has the most wins in the Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Truck Series. 15 wins, one more than Jason Gracias, who came up with 14 wins in the trucks. But then you have to think about, well, what about Adam Newton? He's already got a couple of wins so far this season. And Newton, interestingly enough, never got a win in the trucks. He raced a couple of seasons, and kind of surprising that he's so good with these B-class cars, just a completely different beast.
Yeah, it definitely could suit his driving style a little bit more. He seems to be a driver who likes to play it conservative. He doesn't like to drive all out all the time. And the thing is, when you're in a vehicle like the NASCAR trucks, like you said, lower horsepower, higher downforce, there's only one way to drive those trucks, and that's flat out. There's no room for conservation. Meanwhile, in the Xfinity car, they have so much horsepower that you can take it easy, and you're not going to be the slowest car on the track. So that does help him a lot.
Yeah, and we did see Adam Newton strong on the long runs, as looks like now Newton getting loose about a turn number 4. We did see Adam good on the long runs with the trucks, but I think you're right there, Andre, that with the trucks, you kind of got to give it a little bit more for the whole run, as both of our leaders get sideways out of turn 2. Kind of putting on a personal show for us here tonight as TJ Elaine now up into second. What has happened to Tom Lester in the number 48? Seems like the 48's had problems, as Garrett Gleason having problems there in the back of the picture. Let's see if we can figure out what happened to Tom Lester here. Must have missed it. This is going back a couple of laps. Clean front end at this point. This was when they were working lap number 77, so just about 6 laps ago. Just got loose off of turn number 2, packed it into the inside wall. Down there in the grass, Andre, you don't bring out a caution if you're down there on the grass, and took a while to get it pointed in the right direction, but unfortunately for Tom Lester, that is going to put him back into the 6th position. As we're back to live scenes here, running in between Justin White in 5th and Joshua Corner is Jason Shue in the number 3. Elects to come down onto pit lane here. We'll take on some fresh tires momentarily, but that's a tough break for Lester, who was putting on a pretty good show, pretty good race for him. There, I think, was running 3rd when that happened.
Yeah, he was shaking out to have a good points day, and then one little mistake. And again, I'm going to quote, I can't remember if it was Alex Bowman or William Byron, but somebody over in the Hendrick camp hit one of those inside walls at a weird angle and said, "Why do we have these walls?" And if that wall hadn't been jetting out that way, it might have been a different story. But here we go for the lead. Adam Newton has gotten back to the 83. He's underneath. He's dropping the hammer down the front straight away. Going to try to make it happen here down to 1 and 2. So the 83 drives it in a little bit deeper, and that's going to at least sustain that lead for a little bit longer. Coming out onto the straightaway, neither driver getting loose, which is good, because it's one thing getting sideways when you're by yourself, but when you're side by side, that is always a scary situation, and he's going to try it again here in 3 and 4.
Yeah, that number 4 on the inside looks like he's finally caught that run that he needs, and sure enough, Adam Newton back to the front. Andre, it's taken, about 40 or so laps for Adam Newton to get himself back up to the front of the field, but he has done so, and still plenty of race left. 64 laps, if my math is correct, and Newton can try and set sail with what looks to be slightly better tires, but, well, throw that away.
As it happens, he gets the lead, immediately comes down pit road, and he's going to bring the 83 with him now. 83 getting a little bit sideways even on the access road, so that should tell you something about the handling of that car. And down into pit road, hopefully these boys can get it load up. Don't want a speeding penalty here. You're 1 and 2, so both have a good shot at the win here. Don't want to ruin that. 45 mile an hour is the pit road speed. They're going to be coming down to their pit stalls, and hopefully getting a good stop, because this may very well be the money stop. This may carry them all the way to the end of the race. We don't get another caution. It looks like it's a good entry for the 83. Doesn't overshoot, doesn't go past his box. He's going to be able to get in there. Adam Newton as well. The jacks go up on the right side, and then the left side is sure to follow. I can't imagine anybody taking 2 tires. Here comes that 83. It's going to be a close race off pit road. And the 4 is going to edge them out just barely. And they're going to exit exactly as they entered, Peter. I mean, that gap is identical.
And here comes Mitchell Adams. He's going to try, but you have to stay below the white line until you get to that cone. But Adams is all over the back bumper of the number 4 as they head off towards turn number 3. That was a great pit lane exit by the 83, trying to get those tires up to temperature, and he's going to try and go for the race, well, what will presumably be the race lead when everything cycles out by going around the high side. We've seen that higher groove is the preferred line in turn number 1 and 2, and looks like Adams is, well, I thought he was going to be able to clear the number 4, at least not this time. Now I think he's going to be able to get the drive up off the corner, trying to get every single bit of time on the racetrack, as the crew was not able to do it for Adams on pit road, but he will cycle through presumably to the race leader. We still got some drivers out there cycling yet to pit. One of those is right here. Christopher Pendell is our race leader. Justin White sitting in second, and then the now damaged number 48 of Tom Lester down there in the number 48 machine. And Tom really has not been running competitive lap times either with all that damage on the hood. Just got to think that maybe this could be the one that got away, unfortunately for him here tonight. Garrett Gleason in the number 7. Just wondering if he has pitted. He pitted on lap number 79, so he actually pitted a couple laps early compared to most of our race leaders, as I think Joshua, nope, I was about to say Joshua Corner might be on pit road. No, he's just losing a couple of positions to the drivers that just pitted there, as Mitchell Adams and Adam Newton rip on by.
Oh no, Peter. We did it again. The 3-wide TV ray gun. Jimbo Casterline is behind the wall.
Oh no, Jimbo, what happened?
We've done it again.
Is he in the 3-wide TV chat?
Oh boy, that's I knew we shouldn't have put the camera on him, much less said his name, but you insisted. It's a conspiracy. There's a conspiracy afoot. I tried to get Jimbo a good run, and Peter said, nope, we got to put him on the camera. Looks like the 81, a bad night gets even worse. He's going to woe it up to a stop in the infield grass, and I think right there he said, I've had enough fun for one night, and disappeared, but now he's back out on track, so...
I don't know, this is another replay.
Replay. Here we go.
A little bit more of a look. Looks like just maybe a little bit too much rear brake bias. Back end came around, and that was it for the number 81. Still trying to go back and see if I can see what happened to, unfortunately, our good friend Jimbo Casterline. Maybe he just had enough of the night and said, you know what, that's it. As we're back at live scenes, as we get a look at the front stretch here. There is Justin White, our current race leader, although Mitchell Adams and Adam Newton, look at these two duking it out on the racetrack still after that round of pit stops. I think Adam Newton wants to get that spot back from Mitchell.
Yeah, I got to say I'm a little bit surprised by what we're seeing here, because I know that the short run that's Mitchell's strong suit. It's been his strong suit every race this year. He's been really good on the short runs. He's just really fast out of the gate. And so when you have short run speed, generally what you want to do is you want to build up a big gap so that when the cars behind start reeling you in, they got more ground they got to cover. I expected Adams to pull away for a few laps, and then we could see the number 4 creep back into the frame. But ever since they left pit road, these two have been battling side by side, which tells me two things. Number one, Mitchell Adams maybe isn't as strong on the short run as I thought. And number two, I think Adam Newton may have foregone that conservative mentality he had earlier in the race. He saw that 83, maybe he smelt the blood in the water, got a little bit hungry, and said, all right, we're not saving, we're going to try to get out front. And so far it's not worked out. He's still in second place. Mitchell Adams keeping him at bay for the time being. But it's interesting, because I did not expect this. We're kind of seeing different driving styles than we're used to about these guys.
Yeah, and you have to think, no. Caution flag is out. Let's see if we can see what happened as Justin White might have had some problems. Here we go with the number 2 machine.
He's on very old tires, trying to get down to that transition. And just gonna loop her around there. Don't tell me he slid back up onto the no.
Yeah, I don't I typically that's not enough to bring out a caution, as he really mowed the grass. Usually that's not enough to bring out a caution. There might have been something else happening out there on the racetrack as well. We'll take a peek at that here in a second, but yeah.
His right rear clipped the grass.
Yeah, that's definitely what it looks like, right rear clipping the grass, and that sent him into this seesaw in action. Now, that might kind of work out to his advantage, honestly, with a couple of cars caught a lap down. But let's see if we can see what happened here. Did something happen? I was going to say if something happened to Jimbo, but I guess Jimbo's not even out there on the racetrack. It kind of got a notification that Jimbo jumped to the pits right at that time, but I wonder if something else happened. Jimbo was momentarily in the 3-wide TV chat as we're back live, looking out back of Mitchell Adams number 83 as the field forms up. Jimbo, if you're still in the chat, let us know what happened there. He said, anyone want a computer for parts?
Oh no.
Yeah,
that doesn't sound good.
Yeah, I don't know if the computer decided to reboot or get maybe a Windows update or something like that. I don't know, that sometimes happens. Joshua Corner in the number 16 though said just in the chat that he was about to pit on pit road right now. Not sure when he was last on pit road, but this could be a big break for the number 16. Maybe some fresher tires will help the Wounded Warrior Project number 16 machine that unfortunately is a little bit wounded, all things considered, here tonight. As the field coming down the front stretch here, he's going to have to get rolling if he doesn't want to fall a lap down to Mitchell Adams. I don't know. Looks like that number 60 is going to be a race off pit road. That number 16 left it late. I think he might have just barely got off pit road in time, but yeah, it kind of looks like it.
Is this a Days of Thunder moment where he didn't beat the pace car, but he's going to let him anyways? Because if so, the 16 is...
Drop the hammer! No, you're not!
Nope, he's not dropping the hammer.
No, you hit the soundboard too soon there, Andre. The hammer was dropped, I think, on the number 16, so that'll put Corner at 1 lap down. I think he stayed on pit road to get as much damage repaired as possible, just maybe a fraction of a second too much.
And the worst part about that is if he was going to go a lap down anyways, he may as well have stayed on just a little bit longer, but now he's got the worst of both worlds. He did not beat the pace car. He did not get the most damage fixed that he could. Not a good moment there. 16, unfortunately.
Now we're closing in 50 laps to go. And Joshua Corner texting and driving, letting us know that Jimbo fell out of the session due to packet loss. Well, Jimbo, I've been having the same problem myself. I was just kind of looking. Seems like the connection is mostly rectified. I did have, looks like, one blip a little while ago, but for the most part, it seems like it's fixed itself.
I'll tell you what, Peter. The lights are still on the pace car. Jimbo's in Discord. I want to pull him in just to apologize. I think we're the ones that lagged him out by talking about him.
Probably. So let's get a quick word with the number 18 of Jimbo Casterline. Jimbo, well, out of the race, but at least you can go have a nice cold beverage here before the end of the show.
No, I can't have a cold beverage yet. I got work at 3 in the morning.
Oh, man. So you lag out and you got to go to work in 6 hours? That's not fun.
Yeah. Well, I guess maybe you get to go to bed early then.
Hopefully. But no, the computer crapped out it just crapped out. It just, an error popped up or whatever, just like 2 weeks ago, I think it was, and restarted itself. So it might be time to get a new computer.
yeah, maybe time to look at the old hardware, maybe try to diagnose it. Or maybe, Jimbo, maybe we should just stop showing you on the broadcast, because that happened not long after we were riding on board. So I think it's just, we're just somehow, the jinx is real.
Yeah. So, this time around, I might have to suspend both of you guys.
That may be the only way for you to have some good luck for once. But we're about to go back green. We wish your team at least the best of luck. If you can't be out there getting the points, well, hopefully your team can bring it home for you. And again, thanks for everything you do for the league, and hopefully we're talking to you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Jimbo definitely having some repeat computer issues, and the fact that he said that it's rebooting. I'm no computer expert. That sounds to me like it could be a RAM issue. Usually, if you get stuck in reboot loops, it's one of two things. It's either your RAM or it is the motherboard, or perhaps both. But hopefully, he gets it figured out one way or the other. Lights are off on the pace car, and Peter, we're about to go racing.
Yeah, it'll be good to get back racing, and I'm just surprised that it was Justin White bringing out that caution with that little bit of a mishap. He's taking a little bit to kind of catch up to the back of the field here for this upcoming restart. Field not really formed up, maybe trying to get some more of that damage repaired. It looks like finally able to kind of lump back together as the green flag waves, and Mitchell Adams out front getting a huge jump as Adam Newton there just did not get going. Allows Adams to scoot out to about a 0.7 of a second lead. Not sure if he got caught the wrong gear or something, Andre, but wow, Adams really on that loud pedal early.
The thing is, I don't even think Adam Newton was really sleeping on that restart. I mean, he was keeping pace with all the cars behind him. It was just that 83 shot out so much. I mean, somehow he got a whale at the start. Hopefully it was a legal start. I would imagine that it was. And he's out to a second lead already, and no, boy. It's gone bad all over again. Synchronized spinning for the 16 and the 94. That is going to be Pendel and Corner coming out of the corner. Take a look at the 3-wide TV replay. We caught it live, but no harm in taking another look. Looks like Pendel is coming up out of the corner. I mean, not much you can really do. I mean, again, there's no banking to catch you. When the car starts sliding, no amount of lifting or steering is really going to change that. And just a slight nudge, but with how narrow this straightaway is, that's all it takes for some violent hits, and that may be the final nail in the coffin for the 16. He was already limping around the track with a very, very hurt race car. Now it's even more hurt. Take another look from behind here. Around they go, and everybody behind him.
See, the problem there is he wasn't on the brakes. He was coming off the corner, so no one could see where that number 16 was. Didn't have the brake lights in full effect.
Maybe he should have just drugged the brake a little bit so the lights would stay on. I like to imagine when he hits the brakes, it's kind of like the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation house. It's just blinding, and it just consumes all the power within like a 14-block radius.
That seems about right. As our race leaders coming back onto pit road here with just under 50 laps to go, you have to think maybe to take on fuel to make it the rest of the race on this single final pit stop. As I think we got, we might be picking up Will Ratcliffe on the lead lap. I'm not sure who the lucky dog might be. Yeah, sure enough, it's Will Ratcliffe getting himself back onto the lead lap here. So that's good news for the number 95. It's like your race leader, Adam Newton, on pit road. TJ Lane decided to stay out. A bit of a strategy call for him. Looks like your leaders, Adam Newton just took fuel only. Mitchell Adams took on tires. That's a bit of an interesting call there. Justin White also took on tires. So kind of some split strategies here with under 50 laps to go.
Yeah, that's going to shake things up a little bit here. It's Lane up front for the time being. It's coming down pit road. Newton, Adams, Justin White finally getting a little bit further up the running order, which, by the way, what a night for Justin White. He has been run over slammed, spun. He's been damaged. He's caused cautions. He's gone through the grass, and he's up here. He's in the top 5. He is. I would say Justin White at this point. He is perseverance incarnate.
Yeah, that number 2 machine currently being scored in second. Definitely a head scratcher of a night, that's for certain, as Justin did come down pit road, took on 4 tires. Now, interestingly enough, Adam Newton came back down onto pit road. Just seeing if, I'm not seeing any, well, no, I was going to say maybe tires, but doesn't look like tires going on the number 4. Maybe top off with fuel, maybe that rear end damage looks new. Andre, I don't remember seeing that back end crunched in.
I think it's been that way at least since the last caution, but I do agree that is somewhat recent. I'm not sure how he acquired that. We'll take a look at the 3-wide TV replay, try and scope out exactly.
I'm going to try. I'm not going to say we're going to be successful here.
Yeah,
but,
no promises, but...
Yeah, no promises. I'm getting this thing rewound as quick as I can rewind. Yeah, no, I'm not seeing anything. I gotta think maybe, just maybe, coming back onto pit road to get some of that damage repaired. But
I can't imagine.
You know what? I think I might have found it. Remember that really sluggish restart that Adam Newton had? Maybe he missed the shift or something. But right there, but I had to miss the shift.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
Yeah, he went down. He went down a gear right there. That's what happened.
Yep, missed the shift, and that's where that rear end damage came from. And that's a tough break for Adam Newton. We'll see how much that damage appears to affect the handling of the 4 as tonight goes on.
It's also kind of funny because when that happened live, Peter, I said, no, I don't think he messed up because he kept pace with everybody behind him. Turns out the reason everybody behind him was just as slow is because there was nowhere to go. They were running into him. So I guess leave it to me to get that wrong.
Yeah, just missed that shift, and the commentators missed it themselves. So we'll see.
Hey, if Dale Jr. can downshift in the middle of the straightaway at Pocono, then we can forgive Adam Newton.
Yeah, that was one big smoke ball, wasn't it, off towards turn 1 at Pocono? But green flag about to be back in the air as the pace car heads down onto pit road. There is that green flag about to be waved, and there's the waving going on as well as we're back to racing here at Worldwide Technology Park. And side by side for a second, Adam Newton, you have to think maybe with a little bit less damage than Justin White. Whips around the outside, sure enough does so. Gets himself up into second. Now Justin just looks like he did take tires, but has all that damage. I just think he's off the pace relative to Mitchell Adams, who also took tires. Adam Newton in the 4, I don't think took tires under that pit stop, even though he pitted more than once. I think we can probably verify that. Of course, I've been having some problems with my pit strategy graphic. Let's see if it works today. And nope, still broken. Not sure if iRacing did something to break the graphic, but I can officially say that graphic is pretty toast. As Garrett Gleason a little bit.
I think that number 2 is kind of toast with all the damage he's got. He's been following through the running order. Garrett Gleason looked low, didn't quite have the room, so now he's going to have to try to look up high. But yeah, that number 2 so far off pace. Now, those other cars that got around him mostly were not for position. These were cars that were a lap down, but Gleason is going to be for position. He's up in 5th in that number 7, so if he can make this move, that's a few more points on the board. With how, say, reduced the grid sizes have been, there's not been that many points to change hands throughout the season thus far, and so any points you can get are increasingly valuable. He wants to make this move, get up inside of 4th place if he can, and he's closing in. But it's going to be a bit of a battle because honestly, it's a pretty level playing field. The 2's got damage, the 7's got damage. Neither of them operating at peak performance here, but still nonetheless giving it their all. Mitchell Adams driving out to a 2.5 second lead. You ask how much that damage was going to impact Adam Newton. Well, I think that may be your answer because we did not see that number 83 walk out to that big of a lead before the number 4 was damaged. And now, if you look at this, the lap down car of Pendel is actually threatening to get around second place Adam Newton to try to run down the leader, maybe get one of those laps back the old-fashioned way. Pendel's been closing in.
But you do have to remember, Andre, that I think Newton did not take tires under this last caution, whereas our race leader did. So that might also be one of the reasons why we're seeing Mitchell Adams scoot so far out front here. I think Adam Newton still has a set of racing tires left on pit road if we are to see another caution. And you have to think with the rate they have been coming out that we'll see another one. But I've done this before where Adam Newton thinks, I'm going to have the ace up my sleeve, and then we just don't get a caution. Or I remember we had a truck race a couple seasons ago when Drew Eisenman was at Texas Motor Speedway, dominated the race, was out front, needed one more caution, needed like one more lap of fuel, and did not get it. And we were having cautions lap after lap after lap in that particular race, and it just never came. And unfortunately for Drew, that was his kind of best opportunity at a win, and it slipped away due to a dry fuel tank. So, not saying that's going to happen here tonight, but I've been on the receiving end of a bad strategy call more than once, and we'll have to see if this one shakes out for Adam Newton here tonight now. But if we do get that caution flag come out, Andre, and he's going to be one of, if not the only driver on fresh tires, he's going to look like $1 million because he's just going to drive away from the field more than likely.
Yeah, it's so hard to guess whether or not there will be another yellow. I mean, obviously, cautions have come quite frequently so far tonight, but you look at the field right now, there are 5 cars off of the track. There are multiple cars one lap down that are kind of less likely to be driving very aggressively. 7 cars on the lead lap, and really there's some separation between those cars. So I would say the likelihood for a caution is reduced, but with how tough this track has been to drive, how loose these guys are getting out of the corner, and how much they're having to manhandle these cars, it's possible. All it takes is somebody getting a little bit loose out of the corner, single car spin, and somebody passes by close enough that iRacing says that is going to be a caution, and suddenly the tides change in the favor of the number 4. So obviously, none of us have a crystal ball. We can't guess which strategy is the right one. We can just kind of choose one, stick to it, and hope for the best. But in the meantime, Mitchell Adams out to a massive 4.2 second lead, biggest lead we've seen for anybody so far tonight, as number 2 a little bit further back, continuing to cling on to 4th place for the time being. He's actually gotten away from Garrett Gleason a little bit. It looked like Garrett might be closing in earlier, but now his tires have kind of worn in a little bit, and they've settled into their grooves. Justin White has pulled away ever so slightly, and he's held on to that top 5 position. A few cars in front of him, laps down. As we go to our fancy rotating cam, we'll take a look at that carbon fiber dashboard, and this is an interesting. He doesn't look very focused. I'm going to say that. He looks a little bit dead inside.
I mean, the eyeballs are not moving. That's not blinking either. I mean, both extremely impressive. I mean, you might say he's uninterested, but he's got this very odd dichotomy of staring off into the deep void and yet not blinking, and extremely focused on the deep void that is turn number 1 here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. But at least for right now, those very non-blinking eyes are doing pretty well, as Justin White's topsy-turvy night continues in 4th position, at least for now. You can even see the damage on the rear spoiler from this camera angle. Kind of have an interesting angle to look at, but you get a sense of how these drivers are driving around the racetrack with the steering wheel inputs. Always love to see that and get to hear the gear changes as well. But for right now, Justin White about 0.4 of a second behind TJ Elaine. Let's look back out front. There is TJ Elaine as they head off into turn number 1 and 2. And up in front of them, that's the number 4 machine of Adam Newton. Still got that fresh set of tires on pit road. Needs another caution to be able to use them.
Yes, this is all going to be battles for position if they catch up to one another. Justin White think has been gaining a little bit. Maybe we can pull up the lap time comparison, but I believe he has been closing on Elaine ever so slightly, and that's both of them gaining on the 4. So, Elaine, big wiggle coming out of 4. That's going to be in Justin White's favor. He's down within about 6 car lengths, so ever so slowly, and there's the lap time difference. And yes, he is gaining little by little, chipping away at it. Now down to the very bottom of the track, and it looks like Elaine running the higher lane did not help very much. So he's, I don't know, I think we got a battle brewing right here for 3rd place if Justin White keeps hitting his marks. Justin himself has been very consistent tonight. I'll say that. He's been very consistent. The issue for Justin has been everything else. It's been the pit road entry, it's been the other cars, it's been the cautions. But when we're green flag and we're actually racing and he's not getting run over, Justin White has been pretty solid behind the wheel. Oh, big slide out of Elaine. He's there.
Yeah, Elaine just seems like has maybe a little bit too much rear brake bias in it right now. Drove it into turn number 1 really hard. And the back end, well, you want it to rotate, but you don't really want it to rotate that much. As Elaine here probably feeling the pressure off the front end of the number 2 of Justin White, and White is going to be there as again the number 49 gets loose off of turn number 4. And yeah, White closing in. We saw that he was maybe closing in a little bit on the number 4 machine as well. So if he can make this pass and make it stick, you might see Justin White battle for 2nd here in just a little bit.
I can't believe that. That number 2 looks like it should be in Dale Jr.'s graveyard for race cars. I mean, it's beat up everywhere. The right side, the left side, the front, the back. There is not a body panel on that car that is untouched. I think the roof might even be a little bent. And here he is making a pass for 3rd place, running down 2nd. I mean, this guy, he just won't quit. he's just absolutely driving the wheels off this thing. He don't care if there's a body panel left on it.
And up he goes into the 3rd position. I'm trying to run down the number 4 in front of him now. Christopher Pindell, next car back behind TJ Elaine, is not for position. It'll be Garrett Gleason back in 5th. In the bright chartreuse, number 7, that would be in 5th. Jimbo Casterline says, give Garrett the commentator curse and he'll forgive you guys. I don't know.
Well, we did talk about Gleason a little bit. I mean, I said that he was closing in on Justin White, and then Justin White took off like a rocket ship. So maybe that was the commentator's curse?
Yeah, I mean, Garrett Gleason in the number 7 has lots of vibes of Robbie Gordon at the end of Robbie's career. Of course, Gleason was and probably is the biggest Robbie Gordon fan that I've ever come across. I know there was probably no one on planet Robbie more than this driver right here back in the day. And but like I said, got those Robbie Gordon vibes, which is kind of languishes around and then every once in a while pops up in odd spots, and becomes carried number 7 with a little bit of right side damage. That's probably a little bit of a flair of Robbie as well. Robbie was always up to something, and Garrett Gleason's always up to something too.
All right, but the real question is Garrett Gleason allowed to go back to Australia?
I think the answer to that is yes.
Well, then he's not a true Robbie Gordon fan. See, a real Robbie Gordon fan would go out there and they would get banned from Australia in solidarity with Robbie. I mean, just to prove a point.
Go out there, do some donuts, and get banned from the whole country.
Yeah, exactly. You do that, you are a diehard Robbie Gordon fan. But until then, I'm going to have to question your loyalty to Mr. Gordon. But in the meantime, he is kind of reeling in the lap car of Pendel. It's not really going to gain him much in terms of position, but this will be fun to battle with somebody. A lot of these guys kind of off in their own little world. It looked like for a moment on the top of the screen, it looked like number 2 may have slapped the wall, but maybe not. It might have just been a close call. And down pit road, the 95 has the jack stand going up on the right, then the left. So he's going to roll his way out of pit road. Now the 95, Ratcliffe currently inside the top 10. He's got a huge gap, multiple laps back to 10th place corner. So nothing to really worry about there, taking fresh tires. 24 to go for our leader at the stripe. He's now at a 7-second lead, so just absolutely destroying the field on these fresher tires, and definitely feeling the feel good of the Goodyear. And up ahead, he's got some lap cars, but it'll be a while before he even gets there. As long as he doesn't get a caution, I'd say he's home free, but you never know. 24 laps of racing left. That's the gap. You saw the 83 going into the corner. Here's the 4 all the way back on the straightaway. That is a lot of ground to cover, and it's just getting bigger.
Yeah, now the race lead is up to 6.9 seconds between Mitchell Adams and Adam Newton. Justin White about 2 seconds further back, and then TJ Elaine right there on your screen. Just under a second behind, and then you have to drop about a second and a half back to Garrett Gleason, who's still stuck there behind Pendel in the number 94. Pendel finds himself in 7th, like you mentioned there, Andre, 1 lap down. Jason Shu in the number 3 was, I believe, the lucky dog under the last caution, but he finds himself right now a good handful of seconds back. In fact, you'll need multiple people hands in seconds. He's currently now just about 20 seconds behind our race leader, Mitchell Adams. Tom Lester in the number 48. What a night he had going, but now finding himself 1 lap down as well. And Andre, you just have to think that that front end damage on that Chevrolet took what was a top 3 car here tonight and has turned it upside down, not even able to run down Pendel, who's granted 2 cars in front of him, but that would be the battle for the lucky dog position if a caution were to come out.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say I'm surprised he's struggling so much with the hit he took to the inside wall. He's probably down a few cylinders and also probably up a few concussions. So I can't imagine he's feeling too good behind the wheel of that 48. But he's toughing it out. He's staying on the track. He's trying to muster up whatever points he can get on the night. And that is the benefit of all the attrition that we've had, at least from his perspective, is, look, I nose it into the inside wall. My car's jumped. All I can do is just putt around, try to get... Oh, no.
Pendel had to go. He had to go to the bathroom. There's a porta potty there on the backstretch, and had to go to the restroom.
Oh, he can't do that.
Yeah, you can't do
Oh,
that.
he can't do that.
You can't do that.
He can't. That's not. Let's see how this happened. I'm confused.
Yeah, how do you get there?
So perfectly. I mean, it was like. No, don't tell me. Don't tell me. Don't. How? How does that happen? I mean, he just kissed the wall. It was like he did it on purpose. That was perfect.
You know those, like, I need the Tokyo Drift soundboard, because right here, this is like those folks who kind of drift into parking spots and just kind of like park it, right there.
It was just perfect.
And he just needed to use that Sanivac right there, and use the porta potty very quickly, as race car drivers do, and down and away he goes. But that was enough to bring out the caution flag here tonight. And now this race turns upside down if you are driver number 83, Mitchell Adams. You did not want to see that caution. If you're Adam Newton, you wanted to see that caution because you have a good set of fresh tires on pit road. And at this point, you have about 30 to 40 laps fresher tires. It's going to be a huge advantage once we go back green flag here shortly.
Yeah, this is definitely playing in his favor. I think right now he's probably grinning ear to ear behind the wheel of that number 4. He's got some cars coming down behind him now. I don't know if Justin White or Elaine or Gleason have tires that they can throw on. I kind of doubt it, but we'll have to wait and see. The 7 pulls into his stall there. Does the jack stand go up? No. Yes, it does. So this is interesting. Jack stand goes up on the 4 and the 2, I think. No.
And the 49 as well, I think, also. Yep, 49.
Yep.
Getting tires, so definitely
So
had
all these
some extra
drivers.
sets on pit road. That really puts Mitchell Adams in a tough situation here with just under 20 laps to go.
Yeah, this is code red for Mitchell Adams. He just went from looking at a potential win now to maybe not even being able to get a top 5. Everybody's going to have fresher tires. This is going to be very interesting. We had something. Oh, no. Oh. Oh, no. That's embarrassing. Why'd you have to show that, Peter?
I didn't know what happened.
He's probably wishing we missed that one.
I just got a notification that the car had an accident. And I don't know what happened.
It was an accident, all right.
It was an accident by definition. Just like when my son, dropped something and it's an accident. Well, that was an accident. That was an accident right there. Didn't mean to do that.
What astounds me there is, it was the end of the straight. He had a month of Sundays to see that car coming up in his windshield. Was he maybe looking down? Maybe
I think it's
taking a swig of a nice cold beverage. I don't know.
Maybe with in iRacing, you don't just I guess there's an app or something out there where you can be like, "Yo, crew chief, I need 4 fresh tires," and it will give you 4 fresh tires. But in the world of iRacing, you kind of have to, some people have button boxes, some people have live timing and scoring, some people have buttons to press, some people have just stuff to do to configure your car for a restart or something. So maybe he was involved in that and looked up and just kind of the brake bias caught him out. But the good news there, Andre, is I've seen that happen before, and drivers take out another driver under caution. I've seen that happen before. But in this instance, he did not take out another driver, as it seems like my YouTube is just fluctuating again. Not sure what's up with it. I think we're okay, but it definitely seems to be fluctuating. I'll have to likely reboot my modem after this race to see if that was part of the problem. But hopefully it holds out here for the final 15 laps, because the pace car lights have turned off. And so 15 lap shootout. Mitchell Adams a little bit of a sitting duck. Everyone behind him on fresh tires.
Yeah, I don't know that there's much he can do here. He can put up a whale of a fight. He can make that 83 wide, but I just don't see a way out of this where he comes out on top. Those fresher tires, and it's not a small difference. Like you said, it's going to be in the realm of about 30 lap advantage, which is probably going to be close to about 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds per lap. Big difference, and it's not just one driver. It's everybody behind him. Justin White, Elaine, Gleason, these guys all have fresher tires. And by the way, Lester, the 48, back on the lead lap, recipient of the Lucky Dog Award. So the perseverance paying off a little bit, I would say, for that 48. Off the pace, wounded, but maybe getting a lead lap finish here just through means of attrition. Pace car going to pull down into pit road, and now the field is going to be in the hands of the 83, but wheel spin is going to be a concern for him, so we'll see how aggressive he gets on this start. Into the Geico restart zone, gets a pretty good jump, but not as good as restarts past. Down into turn 1, everything is going to be great for him on those old tires until he has to turn, which is right now. So everybody behind him closing that gap. Elaine on the high side, Newton on the low side. Where do you go? What do you do? Well, multiple cars slapping the outside wall. That helps him a little bit. Here comes the number 4 with a great drive out of the corner, using up that extra grip. He's going to pull alongside, but 83 going to pinch him down to those curbs. Unfortunately for him, the effort will be in vain because we've got a new leader, Adam Newton, in the number 4, clear into the lead. Now it's not a matter of fighting for the lead for that 83. It's going to be trying to hold off that 49. Just try to stay up in second if you can, because right now that 4 is going to do everything he can to set sail with those fresher tires. A little bit of battling further back in the field. You've got the 94 machine, Pendel, side by side with the number 3, Jason Shue. So this guy's fighting for position, but up here, still, that 83. I'm impressed, Peter, that he's held on to second as long as he has.
Yeah, Mitchell Adams, remember, he's got a fairly clean car. Meanwhile, TJ Elaine doesn't, and has a little bit less of one now after smacking the wall right there. So Elaine's got some front end damage. Justin White's got a little bit of damage, but we know Mitchell Adams got a clean race car. That's going to help him at least with the amount of downforce on the car. But nothing left in those tires to be able to run down Adam Newton, who definitely at this point looks like he is on track to get his 3rd win in a row, which is crazy. we mentioned earlier, Adam Newton did not win a single race in the Stay Tuned Sports. Oh, TJ Elaine, huge hit with the outside wall. That's going to allow Justin White to move up into third as White's night continues to improve as there's contact. Elaine's up the racetrack as well. Gleason now under fire from Tom Lester. Things kind of shaping up pretty quickly here at Worldwide Technology Raceway something or another. I don't know. This racetrack needs another name change. It needs to be shorter, Andre.
All I can say about that little moment there is...
Whoa! There's some contact out there.
Yeah, he definitely rode up on that fender, got a little bit of air, I think, off that quarter panel, but able to gather it up. I think Elaine definitely struggling with the handling of that car. And maybe somebody should tell Elaine that there is a lane lower on the track. Pun intended, because he's been struggling with that high side all night long. Now he's trying to do everything he can to keep that number 2 at least within striking distance. Meanwhile, Adams clinging to second place for dear life. And again, I can't understate how impressed I am that he's even held on to second. Such older tires, and like you said, yeah, these guys behind him do have pretty beat-up race cars, and that's definitely hurting them on the straightaway. You can see the ground that he loses just going down the straight. Probably a little bit of engine damage for Justin White. But then look at the corner speed, man. He's just so much quicker with those pressure tires. Closes it all back up. And if it wasn't for that damage, I bet you he'd be up there with that number 4 battling for it. But unfortunately, he's in a situation where he's just slow on the straights, fast in the corners, and it just kind of balances out to be average.
Yeah, meanwhile, Adam Newton on those fresh tires checking out up at the front of the field. Not sure we're going to have a grandstand finish here tonight, but still time left to change that if another caution flag was to come out. And, of course, we have seen issues arise before as still Mitchell Adams doing everything he can to keep Justin White and TJ Elaine. Here comes Elaine now, trying to fight back after that heavy contact with the outside wall. We're going to be side by side for third off towards turn 3.
Again, I can't. I mean, I know they're both damaged, but that 49 not looking too healthy. But despite that, closing the gap here, trying to make the move on the outside, and he's going to get a big run down the straightaway. A little bit of a side draft. I don't know if the side draft's going to change anything when the body panels are looking like metal roofing with all the ripples they got in it. But, maybe it'll help, and it seemed to, because he does get the position. Up into third place goes Elaine, but the number 2 not letting him get away without a fight. He was on the bumper coming out of the corner to go on board with Justin White. And you can see exactly what's going on from his perspective. Elaine running that middle groove, then he's going to drive down the banking, try and time in the corner. Meanwhile, Justin White has just been dedicated with the low side from entry to exit. A little bit of bottom feeding out here, and now Elaine says, okay, tried once, didn't work, tried twice, didn't work. I'm here for round 3. I can do this all day. Let's try to get second place. Might put the bumper to him here. Might get a little bit tired of dealing with somebody on older tires, especially with only 7 to go. But actually, he's going to stall his momentum out on that bumper. That opens the door for Justin White back on the low side. So going down into the corner, he may have a shot at it here. But again, that Achilles heel here for that number 2 is the straight line speed, and he's drifting up. No contact yet. Justin White going up to the window. Oh boy, there, I think they might have touched coming out of the corner there. Again, you see that straight line speed abysmal on the number 2, and that's just keeping this battle going. It's prolonged it, and that's helping the 83 drive away a little bit.
Yeah, that number 83 is definitely able to maybe get a little bit of ground. We're riding on board with him now as we come around to 5 laps to go this time by. You can see that battle for third has cooled off momentarily. But look who's crept back into the picture in the battle for the top 3. You mentioned it a little while ago, Tom Lester and his perseverance back on the lead lap inside the top 5, and only a couple of tenths behind us. Whoa, look at this, the number 49 with a big bump. Still looking to get around Mitchell Adams, nothing doing. Have to bring out the camera to kind of keep an eye on exactly what that number 49 of Elaine is doing. But right now,
Peter, when you swung that camera around, I thought he was spinning, not the camera.
I gotcha. Probably
Yes,
got a
you
couple of folks back at home, but we got the movie cam out, and luckily, they set these things up with little motors now, and you can kind of swing them around as the number 49 has a look to the outside. And is he going to get the run? Is he going to get the run? I think he's there. He's got to the quarter panel off of turn number 2. But Adam's able to get that power down without all that damage on the front end. The number 83 still holds on. We come around to 3 laps to go this time by.
The advantage of having a clean car, these guys are so much quicker in the turns, but as soon as they get to the point where he can put the power down, he just pulls away. The aerodynamics so much more effective. And especially for the number 2 at Justin White, I don't think it's just aero damage he's got. I think Justin White has some engine damage, so that's really playing to Mitchell Adams' favor if he can just hold on for 3 more laps. And it's going to be the bumper from the 49. And I'll tell you what, Peter, he's tried that a couple times, and it seems like no matter what he does, he can't get this 83 to be unsettled. He can't seem to move him. So I don't know what the weight limit is on these cars, but it seems like that 83 is pretty heavy because it can't be moved.
Yeah, Mitchell Adams is putting his car exactly where DJ Elaine does not need it. And now look at this. The number 2 of White stuck his nose underneath Elaine. Elaine had to check up. They lost a ton of ground. Now Elaine sends it off towards third number. Look at that number 49 sideways on entry into the corner. You can tell how much more grip he has as he sent it in. He was able to recover some of that gap to Mitchell Adams, but for right now, we're coming around to the white flag this time by.
Yeah, he's only going to have a couple more corners to try to take second place. Adam Newton about to cross the line to take this white flag, and this is going to make the race official. Next flag will end it. So for Newton with a 5.5 second lead, all he's got to do is make a bit of a parade lap here. But it's anything but for these guys a little bit further back. This is not a parade lap. This is all out. They're racing as hard as they can for every last little point. You can see the 49 running that middle groove where he's able to carry so much speed. In the meantime, here is our race leader, Adam Newton, through turns 3 and 4 for the final time tonight. It looks like the 83 will hold on. I don't think anybody's close enough behind him. And here comes the checkered flag, 3 for 3, undefeated on the season. Adam Newton is going to take another checkered flag. And for third place, huge contact, Justin White started this race in the wall. He's going to end the race in the wall and loses 2 positions just barely. And oh my goodness, that man is deceased. Oh my good gracious.
Well, we're going to have to watch that one again after we watch these burnouts from our race winner, Adam Newton, because I think the number 48 machine got sent to the stratosphere there. Garrett Gleason not putting on the brakes, that's for sure, as Gleason comes across the line in 6th. Justin White did lose out to Tom Lester there right at the end with that spin. Lester inheriting 4th position after that hard battle between the 49 and the 2. All the way to the checkered. Adams able to hold on for 2nd. I'm sure he'll be happy with that, all things considered. As the 4 machine, oh, that's the inside wall. And you know what? Just burn it down across the inside wall. No, he's going to get it back up there on the racetrack, burn it down for the fans here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. But yeah,
So-
3 for 3.
I'm just thinking about it. Was the 83 the only clean car in the field?
I believe so. I think you are correct that the 80, and that's probably how he was able to hold on for 2nd spot there right at the end. I know we talked about it, but
I know,
very impressive.
You know, back in the day in NASCAR, they used to have Mr. Clean sponsorships. I'm gonna have to give the 83 the Mr. Clean award, I think, because there was not a scratch on that thing, and that's something that I don't think anybody else can say before burning it down to the ground. So trend continues, Peter. He said he wasn't very confident, didn't really feel the car too good, but you know, here he is, another checkered flag, and also not involved in the pandemonium on the finish line there. So we may be getting out the tarps, but not for him.
Getting out the checkered flag in victory lane for tonight's race winner here, and Adam Newton grenades the engine after the checkers. But I think everyone wants to see exactly what on earth happened. They're coming to the checkered flag. Let's see if we can go back just a little bit. And let's
They're
see.
side by side for third.
I-
A little bit of a door tap there from Justin White. The 49 didn't take too kindly to that. Let's see. No, more contact. Justin White slid up the track.
I think this was a lap prior to the checkered. They were door banging each other, coming around to check the white flag, and then this is on the final lap. Now let's go on board with Justin White here as TJ Elaine tries to do everything he can to get around the number 2. See, he kind of sent it here, and then it's kind of washed up the racetrack. Oops, sorry, folks. There we go. There's Justin White. Maybe we're actually a little bit further back. I don't know why we would be so far back, but yeah, we are a little bit further back. Huh.
So either way, we know that Justin White and Elaine were trading paint prior to that finish.
See if I can maybe. No, you know what? It does not have. Weird. I don't know what lap we're on here. Maybe we can see the white flag. I don't know, because I don't know. You know what? We went back way too far. Let's see if we can do this. Yeah, this'll work. As I don't know if Elaine caught the wall there, Andre. We'll get another look at it here, and then fireworks going off, and then. There you go. There's the firework, and the 48 rather, gets launched up into the air, I think by Christopher Pendell, and finally comes back down to earth. And then I think little Ratcliffe tries to get into it. Let's see if we can get one more look at that. Slowed down here, 3-wide TV slow-mo. And let's see if the 49 caught the wall here up off the corner, or whether or not they just got tight and rubbed some fenders back. Man, that's a strong run there through the center of the corner by the 2 car.
I don't think he got the wall. I think he might have just got a little bit loose. I mean, we'd seen that time and time again. If he did get the wall, it was just barely. And the 2 was coming up. He was coming down. Just kind of a racing deal, I think, coming to the line. Both of them driving at the limit of their car. And then...
Have you ever? No, I've never!
Well, a couple of times.
And there it is. The 7 comes in full heat. I mean, just I don't think he knew where the brake pedal was on that one.
Well, you know, race is over. You don't you don't have to save the car anymore. I think Garrett Gleason did a good job of saving the car here tonight, as I think it's time for us to do some 3-wide TV post-race interviews for all of the folks back at home. As see if we can bring up, there we go. Let's see if we can get TJ Elaine into the 3-wide TV booth as tonight's third place finisher. Here we go. Why don't you take it away here tonight, Andre?
Liz.
Mr. Elaine, you got a copy?
Yeah, what's going?
Well, DJ, it was a pretty solid performance all night long. We saw you kind of mingling with the leaders and really throwing your hat into the ring, and through a crazy finish, you're going to bring it home on the podium. Tell me a little bit about that finish from your perspective.
Man, it was crazy. The pit strategy kind of fell into our hand. Didn't really fall into Mitchell's hand, but it was. I really wanted to clear Mitchell and not let Adam get away. But I mean, you saw it. I mean, I was doing everything I could not to wreck Mitchell. I was just trying to run him as hard as I possibly could. I almost got by him on the outside there, and I got loose coming out of 2. And I mean, it was a lot of fun. And then we got the old boy behind me pushing pressure, and I see him back in the corners way up. It was a lot of fun. It was a good time.
Yeah, definitely. It looked like a lot of fun, and a lot of respectful racing there at the end. And we did point it out on the broadcast. I was like, yeah, he could put the bumper to him, but he's just not really doing it. So
yeah, and that's what I told. I did. I gave him a little bit of the bumper with, I think it was like 3 to go. You know, I finally like, all right, I'm just gonna give him a little bit of the bumper and just try to move him out of the way. But he backed it down so good and was able to keep it in front of me. that I didn't want to wreck him, period, and like last week at Kentucky broke my heart, man. I just didn't expect Adam. I expected him to drive it into the corner, and I was going to shoot the gap on the outside, and he went back the corner up, and I went to shoot the gap on the outside, and boom, hit the wall, but it was nice to be able to run with him. We had a little conflict, Adam and I, on one of the restarts. He saw me try to jump the restart, and I feel like he thought that maybe I was going to just try to jump down to the inside of him going into one, but I'm not that person. When I back that restart up just a little bit, it's just so that I can stay right to their bumper going into the corner, because those guys, they class of the field. Class of the field. I did everything I could to stay with them, and I never run here before. It was crazy.
Yeah, this track was definitely, it looked like it was a challenge for everybody out there. I mean, we saw cars getting loose, we saw cars getting tight. It seemed like at every turn, this track was just trying to fight you guys out there. How was the driving conditions out there?
Right at the beginning, it was super loose, and then it would kind of tighten up a little bit and be kind of manageable to drive, and then all of a sudden, it would just flip a switch, and then it'd start getting super loose again. Tire management is huge, and this place, it's really weird. It's kind of like Darlington but smaller, and it's like you want to run it into the corner, but you can't run it into the corner because it feels like there's a bunch of banking there, but once you finally get into that corner, there's really no banking there at all. I mean, there is, but compared to other places, you can't carry your speed, and the hardest thing is just backing that car down and just let it roll through that corner. I was having a hard time with it. This place is tough. I mean, it was a lot of fun, but I'm glad I was able to get up on the podium and chat with you guys this week. I was wanting it so bad last week.
Absolutely. And again, congratulations on a podium finish. Hopefully you can rack up a few more of those, maybe even a win in the future. You definitely showed a lot of speed, so we have some pretty high hopes. But thank you for your time, TJ. And before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to shout out or thank?
Yeah, I'd like to shout out my teammate Chris in the 94. Him and I spent some time running here yesterday. Him and I both, we don't have very much experience in these Xfinity cars. They're really, really, everywhere you go, they're really, really hard to get the rubber down on the racetrack. I want to shout out to the FRX series, which is the Friends Racing Experience. If you guys want to come and hang out with a couple of friends and run around, shoot us a message. We run Friday nights. Tomorrow night we're running, we call them jumpy trucks, but it's the rookie Pro 2 lights, and we're going to go to Daytona, Phoenix, and I think the last one's Wild West, and we're just going to go out and jump around and have some fun and shoot the crap and have a really good time. And then the last but not least, I want to thank you guys for putting on the broadcast, Mr. Jimbo for getting me in here, and all my friends and family that have been watching throughout the last 2 or 3 years that we've been on here.
All right. Well, again, thank you for your time. Congrats on the podium. We'll see you next week.
See ya.
Third place out of the booth, and I believe Peter has caught up with second place Mitchell Adams.
Yeah, Mitchell Adams in the number 83 machine definitely fought all night long to get the second position. It was looking all so good there, and then I think Christopher Pendell had to take a break at the porta potty there on the backstretch, Mitchell, and unfortunately kind of ruined the strategy that you had. But I know that you knew that you kind of had played your cards at that point, and it was pretty close to working out for you here tonight. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it was one of the weirdest cautions I've seen. So they really stunk that's what brought out the caution. I knew I wasn't going to win. Adam was way too fast, but I told my teammates at Stay Tuned Esports before we went green, if I finished in the top 5, I was going to be super surprised. So to be able to race with TJ and Justin like that was awesome. And me and TJ were talking. We had a ton of fun there at the end. I hope that was as entertaining for you guys to watch as it felt like it was down on track. And I was driving that car with everything I had there at the end, and strategy didn't quite work out, but I feel like second place is very, very good for how that played out.
Yeah, I'm sure you were watching your rearview mirror intently there for the final couple of laps, and as soon as they started beating and banging with about 2 to go, I bet you went, please, just keep doing that, and you were able to scoot away a strong night for the number 83. I think you were the only clean car in the field. I think Andre gave you the Mr. Clean award of the night for keeping your car so clean. So a strong run nonetheless. But we go from the, well, very different oval. It's kind of a unique one here, Worldwide Technology Raceway, to a road course next week. We're going to Monza, and not Monza Oval. We're going to Monza Road Course. What are your thoughts about that?
I'm not going to be here next week because I move into college this weekend, and I'm not taking the rig up right away, so I can kind of feel things out. But I can tell everybody watching at home that Monza is probably going to be one of the best road courses for these cars. I mean, it's high speed, it's fast, and I think that's going to put on quite a show. So everybody make sure to tune back in next Thursday night.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to it. It is fast, not a whole lot of corners, and definitely one of the most famous road courses on the entire planet. But Mitchell, got to say, best of luck at college, buddy. I know you've had that on your plate coming up for a while, and I know we're all excited for you. We kind of feel like I've seen you grow up over the last 3 or so years that we've had you here on 3 Wide TV. But before we let you go, you got some shout-outs for us?
Yeah, first of all, thank you guys for broadcasting. Like you kind of said, I've been running around 3 Wide TV leagues you guys broadcast for several years, and I was just thinking about that. I've been on races here for probably 3 years. So, yeah, thanks to everybody here for letting me run. I hope I can come back after not too long. I should be back later in the season for a race or two. Also, big shout out to Stay Tuned Sports as Jimbo for sponsoring the team, and also Radcliffe Reviews. You can check them out. RadcliffeReviews.com. My friend Will has a pretty cool website. But other than that, no, just thanks everybody for watching, and keep watching throughout the season. These guys are really good.
Yeah, we got some great races to come, Mitchell. Good luck, once, like I said, back at college. And yeah, we hope to see you again back here soon on 3 Wide TV, and maybe, up here on the podium.
I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
All right, well, that's going to do it with tonight's runner-up driver of the number 83 machine, Mitchell Adams. And I believe that Mr. Andre Grandbush has made it to, well, 3 for 3. Adam Newton so far this season. Andre.
Mr. Newton, you got a copy?
10-4.
Well, Adam, this is 3 times in a row that I'm congratulating you on a win. Seems like you're on more than a little bit of a roll here. And again, you said that you were kind of a little bit iffy on the car, maybe not feeling the most confident when we talked to you back in stage 1, but you made a bit of a bold strategy call. You didn't take tires when Mitchell Adams did, and then that fortuitous caution came out, and that was all she wrote. Lights out, gone and away, taking the checkered flag.
Yeah, I told him, Mitchell, I was like, man, I didn't know if he was paying real close attention to the first run when me and him checked out on the field and whatnot, but we were like 7 laps short on gas. So on that run, I told him, I said, I just left it in 4th gear and rode, man. And things worked out.
It worked out indeed. And again, no competition from behind. But we're going to a bit of an interesting track next time. We've been going to ovals pretty strictly here in the first 3 races that you won. How do you feel about a Monza road course? I mean, definitely a different beast to what we've seen, but can you make it 4 for 4?
Man, if you would have told me I would be 3 for 3 right now, I would have said you're lying. I never in a million years would have thought this, especially in this league with this competition against Mitchell and those guys. I have no idea. I'm not a good road course racer. I am average. But who knows, man, if I give it some practice, we'll give it a shot to go 4 for 4.
Yeah, definitely going to be fun to watch you try to uphold the undefeated title so far. One thing I wanted to ask was just, did the racing conditions change at all throughout the course of the race, or was the track just kind of the same at the start as it was at the end of the race?
Oh, it changed majorly to me. I was at one point when y'all talked to me, I was tight loose, and then it went just loose. Then at the end of the race, it went back to tight, but it was not the same tight loose that it was at the beginning of the race. It was tight in the center, loose in the entry, loose off. But then when we got to the very final, 20 laps, it was pretty much tight all the way through the corner.
Yeah, that's interesting to hear. Again, when we're kind of racing, we started under the lights, we ended under the lights, so you don't really expect the conditions to change that much. But we're putting rubber down on the track and, of course, heating it up with the tires as we race. So definitely going to see a little bit of change. And it seems like your car was a little bit all over the place. But either way, you managed to walk away with yet another win on the season. Congratulations, Adam. Before we let you go, is there any shout-outs you'd like to make?
Yeah, thank you, Peter, Jimbo, Justin, Tom. They were in the room again tonight, and thanks Mitchell and TJ Racing Clean, and thanks Pam Pittman for my sponsorship, and just everybody at NSRA. I mean, y'all give us somewhere to race. I really appreciate that.
All right. Well, thanks for your time, Adam. Hopefully we're talking to you again next week.
Yeah, I hope so, man.
Race winner out of the booth, and yeah, like he said, didn't expect to even be 3 for 3, but he's got a shot at defending that title next week, and it's going to be an interesting race, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see which of these drivers end up being the road course ringer. I mean, just looking up and down the scoring pile on here tonight, I don't really see any of them kind of jumping out to me as kind of historical road course ringers. Of course, we've got a lot of new faces in the series, like Christopher Pendell, that could jump out there, Tom Lester, TJ Elaine. Even, a couple of those people could be sleepers for Monza. They better get their practice laps in. It's a fast track, and hopefully going to be a good one for all the fans back at home. Let's see if we can bring up tonight's final race results for the fans back at home. Like I just mentioned, Adam Newton taking home the win, 3 for 3 by 5.3 seconds at the end of the night. TJ Elaine coming home in third and right behind Mitchell Adams in that great battle. Adams second, Elaine third, Lester in fourth, Justin White coming home in fifth after a topsy-turvy night that ended up spinning across the start-finish line. Tough break for him, just losing out that spot with that late race spin. Garrett Gleason coming home in 6th, Jason Shue in 7th, Christopher Pendell in 8th, William Ratcliffe in 9th, Joshua Corner in 10th. And then the drivers who had multitudes of problems here tonight. Thad Miller did get back out there on the racetrack, did pass Jimbo Casterline relatively late in the show. So got to give a shout out to Thad Miller for kind of persevering and picking up an extra bonus point. Casterline 12th, McKee in 13th, Mike Floppy Tellier, who left the show after causing a second incident down there in 14th, and Paul Bilson. Unfortunately, his night didn't make it past 10 laps as his bad luck continues here with these B-class cars. But Andre, like we said, we go from this unique oval to the road course of Monza next week. I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing these cars race through the Parabolica.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's a unique road course, even among other road courses. It's very long straightaways, very slow chicanes, so definitely a different product from what we're used to seeing. It should be a lot of fun.
It definitely should be a lot of fun, so make sure you tune in at 9 o'clock Eastern next week right here on 3Y TV. But for myself, Peter Short, Andre Graham Bush, and the rest of the family, folks, stay safe and have a good night. We shall see ya!